What is up, everybody? Happy Friday, and welcome to the WAN Show. We have way too many topics this week. This is a serious problem.
A lot happened.
Switch modder Gary Bowser has been released from prison with a life-destroying fine. Ooh. Meanwhile, game devs have been cracking down on hardware-level cheats. This is going to be a really interesting conversation. What else we got today?
Seagate was hit with a $300 million fine for violating an export ban.
Yikes.
And where is it? Gameplay trailer accused of being filmed IRL. It was that convincing.
Okay.
Everyone was fooled. Everyone.
That's the title tie-in today. Everyone? Really, Luke? Everyone. Let's just roll the intro. We'll talk about that later. The show is brought to you today by Vessi, Zoho One, and Squarespace. Obviously, we're going to have to jump right into our headline topic, which is the gameplay trailer that fooled the world.
Are we showing it, or are we just going to talk about it?
Yeah, we might as well show it. I mean, what's IGN going to do? Copyright strike us?
Oh, we could have just brought it up from like the creators. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You guys are going to want to go check it out on your own screens because you're watching this through our compression.
Yes.
Now, there are some things that are very, very convincing about this.
Yeah,
in fact,
absolutely.
I think the approach of the building is probably the most hyper-realistic looking part of this gameplay trailer. The fact that this gets blown out as the camera's apparent automatic exposure adjusts to the darker environment here on the protagonist's left. But this flashlight, come on, it looks like a video game flashlight. And okay, to be clear,
it was pretty good.
To be clear, okay, I'll bring it back up. In a second. I am not hating on the people that were initially bamboozled here.
Okay, right. Yeah.
But when the game developer came out and said, no, this is in-engine, this is rendered on just a gaming computer, this is just the game being played, and people are like, no, I don't believe you, and they actually can't tell at that point. I mean, really? Okay, so we'll go back. Let's go back to the game. So I want to talk about this flashlight, okay, and the way that it illuminates things. That is not how a flashlight works. The light bouncing is not true to life at all.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than most games.
No question. But even after, so what happened is this gameplay trailer was released. People basically went, it looks like you're cheating. It looks like you just recorded body cam footage and you're trying to pass it off as a game trailer. You're trying to pull some kind of scam, right? And he comes out and he goes, actually, no. And he posts a no-clip version of it where he's flying around.
You can technically fake a lot of what happened in that no-clip version.
You can technically fake anything.
I agree with Linus, actually. But I'm throwing some counterpoints to try to make it more interesting. You can technically fake a lot of what happened in the no-clip.
Sir, you can fake a battle with a sea dragon in Shang-Chi. That doesn't mean that what he did is not perfectly valid evidence.
Okay, hold on. I actually have a bit of a counterpoint.
Okay, let's bring up the no clip. Okay?
Yeah.
Unrecord.
I have it on my screen, full screen.
You've got it?
If you just want to share mine.
I'm coming over to you. Go for it.
So I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
This is it.
So here he is in the environment showing the way the auto exposure, quote unquote, handles things. And then he goes, also, that is not the angle at which arms come out of an actual body. So no. Here we go. Those reflections in the water look great.
Jump cuts slightly.
And I want to make it really clear. I am not saying that this is an ugly looking game or that this hyper realism appearance that it has is not hyper realistic. It's hyper realistic. It's amazing.
It just looped. This is back to the beginning.
Okay.
So some of my arguments. There are
sure.
easily things that this developer could have done to make the no clip proof significantly more obvious as actual real proof.
I mean, he went through walls.
That's not actually that like hard to fake at all. I think that they did it this much so that there's just the slightest bit of doubt in some people because that is getting us to talk about it. I think this was tactical.
That's fair enough, which is fair enough. However,
I think the developer is very smart and did this entirely on purpose.
Personally, I did not need the no clip because there are some fairly obvious tells. And I mean, maybe part of this, and the people after the no clip basically saying, I still don't believe you, la, 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 la. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys because, and maybe part of this is that I do this for a living. Like I pixel peep and evaluate the graphical fidelity of things and look at new rendering features and their implementations. I actually do this for a living. But to me,
there's some things that stand out.
If you sent this to me and said, okay, what is this? What is this bokeh effect here? Obvious post-processing. That is not real bokeh.
I think another thing that really, really benefits all the footage is because it's trying to recreate this effect of like
shaky
some
cam,
janky body cam.
Yes.
It does a bunch of stuff like this where it actually it's intentionally lowering its quality.
Sure.
While having really, really high quality assets. So that makes it so much more believable. Is these like actually really rough, like kind of bad screen effects that they have going on make it so much more believable. It's a very interesting effect. The
way that they handled the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. The way that they handled the perspective and the camera shaking. So cool.
I also think
so cool
that this is like piloted by expert. So I have some theories that just like in Tarkov, there's independent head control. Mm-hmm. So in Tarkov, if you hold down your middle mouse button, it doesn't matter where your firearm is located. You can look around like this with your head. Right. And I think that's going on in here. Mm-hmm. And the developer, whoever, has just ran through the scenario a bunch of times. So they did it at really realism effective times, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
So when there's already that thing where you can kind of move where you're aiming and the perspective of the like head of the person that you're controlling doesn't immediately move. So you have the firearm slightly disconnected.
And that's something most people wouldn't be used to and wouldn't imagine that a game would be capable of doing.
Because most like Counter-Strike, Valorant, stuff like that, they don't do that. It's fixed. There are games that do this already.
Yeah.
This one's implementation is extremely good.
Let's have a look at that.
I think it's doubling up with some independent head control.
Yep.
And a player who is extremely adept at making this feel real.
Sure.
Like I think this is almost acted, I would say. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's a trailer.
Yeah, they went through trying to make it feel like it was real, which is what they should have done for the trailer. But I think it's both.
Again, we've got messy post-processing here.
The smoke.
Yeah. The smoke is absolutely video game smoke.
The smoke is wild, yeah.
The angle of the arms is also wrong again.
And it's not like, to be clear, it's not bad smoke for a video game. It's just also, it's video game smoke.
Yeah. The way that this darkness that he's standing in here is so dark, that's not correct.
Like blacked out,
with daylight coming in here, this would be blown out, but this would have a lot more light. And again, okay, I'm like I was actually kind of arguing with Riley about this before the show because I said something along the lines of, "Where's my chat with Riley?" I was
also,
like,
really great while you're looking that up. Really great area scans of where this is.
I was like, it's obvious it's not real. What have these people never seen a game before? Must be console gamers. Modded Crisis can look almost this good. And he's like, I was kind of trolling because I knew that
Going
he
a little far.
thought it. Yeah, I was obviously messing with him a little bit because he's like, bro. Me and apparently 75 of the internet were like, whoa, upon seeing it.
It's definitely a whoa. It's pretty crazy. I was talking to Jaden about this because he's really into game engines and understands a lot of their limitations and stuff like that. We've had conversations in the past about different game engines. I'll like comment about how some game looks good, and he'll be like, "No, it doesn't because of these reasons." And I'm like, "Oh, okay,
and it's
that's
a
actually a pretty good point."
But another thing that it only occurred to me now that my eye is trained for is not just the video game graphics pixel peeping, but cameras. I spend so much of my life working on one side or another of a camera. And so when I see something like this is such a perfect example where I go, nah, dog, this ceiling, this roof up here absolutely has strong reflections on it because of the reflectiveness of this water. This is not correct. It's very obvious to me because I know what a webcam should look like. But see, you can see it's doing a much better job of it here. After our protagonist takes even just a few steps forward, that wouldn't happen in the real world. It would be more gradual. That kick animation, though, come on.
But the door movement and stuff, very good.
The door movement's pretty good.
Like they're I don't want to trash on certain aspects of it too
very
much.
very fake.
What is
this flashlight? Look at it. Come on.
You can get extremely focused flashlights.
Yeah, you can get extremely focused flashlights, but they wouldn't have a beautifully defined circle around them like this.
Yeah.
No, dog. No. This looks great.
Oh yeah, one of the things that I thought of in the no clip demo to make it like more believable, he should have done object interaction. He should have like picked an object and like moved it around, replaced it somewhere.
Right.
But it's area scans, so I don't even think you can.
Right. Do you want to explain what area scans are? Because I think a lot of people are probably looking at this going, this is blowing my mind.
Level of detail
How
is
can
insane.
anything have this kind of graphical fidelity? Because there was another demo that popped up recently of like a village or something. I'm going to try and find it.
Okay.
But it was also photorealistic and apparently done by a single developer. Don't quote me on any of this, though, because I'm a little bit...
Again, when I was talking to Jaden about this before the show, he looked up and I think, if I remember correctly, I don't want to misquote him. I think he found that they like worked with some company to get scans, and he was saying that like the area that they scanned isn't necessarily, Quixel Megascan. There we go. I think that's what he said too. So it's not necessarily that the area that they scanned is in this exact configuration, but they could have like, cut it up. So, through this door might have been like some, I don't know, medical room or something. But they're like, oh, we don't want that. We want that to be another part of the warehouse. So they just like move it there, and they can do that. But this is like an existing area that they could have chopped up or just not. So when you notice things like something that stood out to me on my like first pass was the green when I first looked at it.
Should I be on your screen?
There's these green, here we go. These green banners. Or whatever these are. I was like, oh, they all have unique graffiti. Like, why would they like bother to do that?
Right.
And then I almost immediately was like, is this some type of scan? And then, Jaden, without me even prompting, like immediately looked it up, and it was. That's
another thing too, because it's a scan, 3-dimensional things. Like, for example, the textures, we see some dumpsters and stuff inside later. Those textures do not look 3-dimensional enough as you move around them. Even they're quite flat.
Look at this banner.
Yeah.
Really quick. This just looks like it's a different color when you get close.
Yeah.
It looks like it's shading.
It's flat.
But as you go by, it's flat, right?
Yeah. If this scan technology improved to the point where you could scan in 3 dimensions, more finely, obviously this is a 3-dimensional scan.
And it might have just been that like they didn't spend enough time on that one like sheet of plastic or whatever that thing is on the fence. And like maybe if they got more detailed scans of that individual thing, they could have actually gotten that depth. But it's really impressive what they're able to do with this like photogrammetry scanning stuff. There's people that have been scanning buildings using this. And then just bringing in the untextured like depth maps,
Yeah.
and then texturing them with mid-journey textures, which is really, really interesting.
One way or another, even if it's not the kind of thing that, you know, I can look at and go, wow, this is definitely body cam footage, because it's definitely not. It's not, some people are talking about the flashlight still. It's not just that it's a perfect circle. That's pretty normal. What it is the way that the flashlight is static. Okay, so the edges are kind of blurred here. If we go back to it again for a second here.
Yeah, Atari in full plane chat just said you can 3D scan. Yeah, that's why I said like they might just not have taken as much time on that like one sheet of whatever, because it's probably not that big of a deal.
So come look at this. Here's something that they could do to improve this a little bit. You see how it has this this kind of halo around it. A real person holding a real flashlight would have jitter, rotationally and side to side and up and down. It has no rotational jitter. So it's just a static, it's like it's a map applied to the light output that is coming from this gun. It's always the same kind of haze. That's what makes it look unnatural. That's what makes it look incorrect, not true to the real world. Some people are still in the chat saying, I'm actually still questioning this. Freddie Wong has done videos where he shoots actual video made to look like a video game. Guys, no, this is an engine. It's just getting that cool. Check this out. This is the one I was talking about from Taichi Kobayashi. It's not quite as, because of the way the camera moves, it's more video game like.
Yeah.
It's not as convincing. You can see kind of some fisheye to the lens, and yet the lens is not quite where your eyes would be. It doesn't have that vignetting that gives it that really convincing like goggle effect. I think that's part of why the other one's so convincing too, is it really feels like you're looking through goggles.
Yeah.
But in terms of the scans, in terms of the photorealism of this, guys, games are coming. They're going to look like this.
Yeah,
this is freaking cool. It doesn't matter.
See, like that waterfall doesn't seem legit.
Yeah, but
that house. Oh, my, for a second there, when there was none of the outside, that looked like it could have been a Google Maps screenshot.
Yeah.
Like,
it looks like a picture.
Wow.
And look how different and like independently waving, like all this greenery is.
And stuff.
It's the greenery on this one. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I want you guys to go watch it. It's just UE5 environment art, Cliffwood Village. Go check this out, guys.
That's wild. I've never seen that.
I'm
gonna have to go watch that.
It's beautiful.
Thing later.
It's art.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. So that's one of my like biggest, I guess, red flag concerns about this thing is how many people it convinced and how realistic it is. Like, it's very, very impressive. Yes, there's some tells, but it's extremely impressive.
With a little bit of AI and a little bit
more polished, a little bit AI. Give it 3 or 4 years. The old, when I was first growing up.
Oh, I thought you were getting into how this could be like dangerous, like faking things or whatever. Oh, that is where you're going. Oh, good.
When we were first growing up, it was pics or it didn't happen, right? And then that pretty quickly was like
video or it didn't happen.
Video or it didn't happen.
What's truth now?
That's like gone. Jaden was saying, you combine a bunch of these things. You combine, as far as this has gotten in regards to realism with the movement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You combine that with
lower the
deepfakes.
resolution a little bit, and it'd be tougher for me to tell. Like, part of how I can tell is how sharp it is.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, that's something I didn't even mention. It looks too good for like body cam or webcam or like GoPro footage. It's too sharp.
It's like too high quality. Yeah. A lot of those things are they're buying for like the entire country's police force, right? Yep. So like they're usually going to be pretty cheap.
They're cheap. They don't look that good.
But yeah, you combine deep fakes in terms of how people look. You combine the like voice emulation stuff that people are doing. You combine a lot of the stuff that we see in here and even slightly improve all those things by a little bit. And the average person is not going to be able to tell, like, at all.
Yeah, this is wild.
And as long as you can have a legitimate debate where there's a significant amount of people on both sides, then what is like representable truth other than eyewitness?
This is great. Bixby in the Floatplane chat says, live stream or it didn't happen. I mean, have you seen some of the unmaskings that have happened with like the biggest ones that I'm aware of were some live streamers in China where they were pretty much wearing the appearance of a completely different looking person.
What? No, I've never heard of this.
Really? I thought we've talked about this on the show before.
I don't think so.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Beauty YouTuber exposed during live stream. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, this is it. This is her. This is her. So it's like real-time appearance modification.
I mean, you
live.
see those like filter things on TikTok and stuff.
Yeah,
it's not like they don't exist elsewhere.
Yep, 100%. And when you're running them on more powerful hardware, you can do more outlandish things with it. So live stream where it didn't happen? Nope.
Yeah.
Well, we have nothing left.
The second it's video or it didn't happen, live stream or it didn't happen is already basically out the window.
Well, it's harder to apply those effects live. I mean, you look at, again, back to Shang-Chi.
If you can do it...
Okay, dragons are real. Not real time.
If you can do it not in real time, being able to do it in real time is coming. That's what I'm saying. Like... Eventually, a computer will get fast enough, and it can just do it. It's fine.
Yep.
It'll be right around the corner. Companies like NVIDIA will make sure that happens.
I do want to jump into the LTT merch stuff for this week a little bit sooner than we normally would, just because I don't want to see people ordering this and not taking advantage of the promo. It's very unusual for us to do this, but we actually have a launch promo coming with the item that we are announcing this week. Meet here.
Thanks.
Meet the Wag Hoodie. Is a little tiny WAN hoodie for your dog.
Yeah. It's so cute.
It has all the same features and quality that you've come to expect from the regular human-sized WAN hoodie, but now in a convenient size for small to medium-sized dogs. It also has some dog-specific features. So the hood can be buttoned back to keep it out of the way of your furry companion. There is a leash hole that passes through the hoodie into the inside. So you can run your leash through it. It does have a kangaroo pocket here. Does it actually go all the way through? Hilarious. It does go all the way through. We actually went way over the top in terms of the quality of the construction. Like, it's even got the same built-in orange accents on the sleeves. But anyway, the point is that on the back, it's got this little kangaroo pouch and a working, YKK, of course, waterproof zipper that you can put, I don't know, extra like emergency doggy bags or condoms for all the action you're going to be getting because your dog is so cute and you strike up so many conversations.
I can't believe your dog has a hoodie.
I know, right? Small to medium-sized dogs. If you go on the site... Oh, right. So I was going to mention the promo. Normally, we don't do launch promos, but we do have one today. If you buy the WAN hoodie and a WAG hoodie, it's $24.99 for the WAG hoodie, but if you buy them together, you will get a $10 discount that's applied automatically at the checkout.
You can match your dog.
So you can match your dog. And
it's
look
decently
how cute
stretchy,
your dog will look.
and it's not super resistant. So if your dog was like a little bit big, it would be okay.
Yeah, but do please follow the size guide very carefully. We are hoping to expand our available sizes to accommodate larger dogs, but not for now. Not for now.
So cute.
I don't know what you're talking about, Pretzel Parkour. I don't know. Apparently, we no longer accept a perfectly working card.
Contact customer support.
Yeah, all you can do is contact support, and we'll try and get you sorted out. I mean, better for us to not take your money than to take your money and like not, deliver it, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're doing okay.
Just needs to contact customer support.
Yeah, you got to contact support. Look at this. Ah! Hey, Ripley. I can't believe Jake put this thing on his cat.
Wait, what?
Yup. Oh, man. It is so fun that we have so many of our staffers come in to, model the merch and bring in their dogs. What a fun shoot. Hey, there's Dennis and Charlie. Good boy, Charlie. Ah! That was a weird spot for my cursor with it on his eye like that.
I love how his cat doesn't even seem to like mind.
Oh no, Arlo's chill. Whatever.
Sweet a sweater.
Arlo gives 0 Fs. We have a couple of other things to announce this week. We have 2 new limited edition sticker packs, computer cats and gaming dogs. So these are going to be in the bonus bin. I mean, you can just buy them if you really want to, but they are bonus bin items, I think. I'm pretty sure they're bonus bin items. So these are actual dogs of Linus Media Group. I don't know all of their names. Maybe
It is a bonus bin item.
It's a bonus bin. Okay, good. Maybe that's something we specify. But I do know this cat is Dash. That's my cat. I'm pretty sure. Oh, this has got to be Arlo. I'm not sure all of the other cats necessarily, but yep, they're all actual cats of actual people who work here, and I'm sure Sarah knows who they belong to. And then the final thing is we have just launched our mystery plaid. So the latest addition to our popular mystery series. If you want to get a deal and you don't necessarily care what color of plaid flannel you get, you can pick up the mystery plaid flannel for $39.99 US. It's the same great quality, just in a mystery color. So if you check out there it is. It could be this, it could be a this, it could be a this, or it could be a this.
Very cool.
All right.
Someone asked, is there a behind-the-scenes video of the photo shoot of the WAG hoodie?
I don't know.
And that could be a kind of fun idea, is behind the scenes of some photo shoots.
We have done one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did one with the 3D down jacket, but I'm not sure if they would have thought to do a behind the scenes of this one. That would be a great question for our community coordinator, who is not off probation yet, but I bet if you posted it on the subreddit or something, if you're like, hey, attention LMG community coordinator, don't post a bunch of other random stuff, because the only one I'm going to flag for him is this one. But if you're like, hey, is there a behind the scenes coming? I'm sure he'd be happy to figure that out for you.
There's going to be like a million of those threads now.
No, I mean, I'll just tell him to ignore them. So it'll be fine. I don't want to create unnecessary work for people, guys. There's no point.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we jump into our next big topic? Switch modder released from prison with life-destroying fine. This is a tough one because on the one hand, one of our other topics is going to be, hey, thank goodness for a large fine for a change, because if you don't have the fine reflect the magnitude of the criminal action, then companies will just treat fines as cost of doing business and shrug them off. But in this case, we are talking about an individual.
A bit different when it's an individual.
But an individual who engaged in commercial activities as part of their criminal endeavors. Let's get through this. Fellow Canadian, Gary Bowser has been granted early release from his 40-month prison sentence on grounds of good behavior and undisclosed health problems. The background here is that Bowser pled guilty to trafficking mod chips that allowed pirated games to be played on Switch consoles in late 2021 as part of his involvement in Team Executor. Bowser was not a modder himself. His role was primarily PR and marketing. While Bowser's plea deal spared him substantial jail time, he's still facing a fine of $14.5 million, of which he has only paid $175 through menial jobs at the prison library and kitchen. Should Bowser get another job upon his return to Canada, his pay will be garnished 25 to 30% to service the fine that he owes Nintendo. Bowser is 52 years old and has physical limitations due to his ill health. Assuming a typical life expectancy of 81 years, Bowser would have to earn $500,000 a year, not including living expenses, in order to pay off his debt before he dies. This really does seem like cruel and unusual punishment.
Yes. The thing you brought up with like, oh, we have another topic about a company getting slammed with a fine. Usually we don't. It is interesting that today we do happen to have one.
Yeah.
But it is actually very uncommon and something that we very often talk about is how these companies getting slap on the wrist fines for like 5 to 10% or less of the profit that they made doing a certain venture just does nothing, because that's just a cost of doing business for them.
Yep.
The scale of this is quite egregious, though.
The fact that there's no time frame during which his wages are garnished. I mean, and look, you know what? I mean, I was about to draw parallels to child support, where I say, like, look, we're not talking about another innocent life that, you know, Gary Bowser walked out on and is refusing to support or something like that. Even with fucking child support, when they become an adult, you're no longer obligated to pay it.
Right.
How does this make any sense?
Yeah, it's so intense.
I mean, and coming back to a punishment that is proportionate to the means, right? To the capabilities of the person being punished, or the entity being punished. Like, on the one hand, I'm looking at it going, yeah, okay, so garnishing wages, I guess, is better than taking 100% all the time, you know, forcing him to, put up a cup on the street and then literally take that and give it to Nintendo. Obviously, I guess it's better than that. But it is clear, it is obvious that this $14.5 million sentence is completely unattainable. And
he's also just probably screwed. Like, if we can have a probably unfortunate conversation here, cost of living right now is insane.
Well, yeah.
Like, a huge percentage of people I know, if their wages just got deleted by 25 to 30%, they're just screwed.
Yeah, they're out. They're done.
Like, out of the house, on the street, immediately screwed. So, like...
And he's stuck with that for life. And as far... there's nothing in our talking points about this, but I would have to make the assumption that Nintendo would have thought of him just declaring bankruptcy and walking away from it. Hence the wage garnishing. So there's just no way out.
No.
I mean, honestly, if, like...
The chance that he's going to start making...
Would he be better off in prison?
Very possibly, because I don't...
Like a minimum security prison.
If he doesn't have job prospects lined up that are very, very lucrative, then he's going to be on the street anyways. Like, I've been trying to think of, like, solutions.
Yeah.
What would you think if it was like it doesn't start getting garnished until he makes a minimum of some amount of money per year?
Okay, I mean,
you have to be able to earn a livable wage before the garnishing starts.
Yeah, we can play kind of point counterpoint here a little bit. Like, I'll play devil's advocate, just to be clear, that's what I'm doing. But my defense to that, if I'm Nintendo, right, is, well, then he's just going to carefully not declare any income above that amount, and we get nothing.
Yeah, so the country can't just take another homeless person, though. Like, you're like basic.
I know.
If that rule, I know you're playing devil's advocate.
I know. But that's what they would say.
I get that. But as the country of, like, Canada, I would just be like, no, because it's going to cost the country a ton of money in this situation.
Sure. But if I'm Nintendo, I'm kind of going, well, that sure as heck isn't my problem. And my copyright was infringed.
Yeah, so welcome to the limitations. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think a company should be able to just, like, decide that someone's going to be homeless for the rest of their lives. That's crazy to me. Like, unacceptable.
And
absolutely ridiculous.
And what's really mind-blowing to me is how... I mean, I guess that's sort of part of the cruel and unusual punishment, right? Is the unusualness of it. Countless people have been involved in, you know, whether we want to talk about what were they called, R4 chips or whatever for the DS, like in...
It was a court, not a company. So I've heard. Sorry. I see a bunch of people saying it was a court, not a company. That is, like, in a lot of ways true.
Yeah.
Because the company can ask for whatever.
Yes.
And lawyers and all this whole structure will encourage you to ask more than... It's the whole bargaining thing, right? I want to sell this thing. I'm going to ask for, like,
start
2 times
high,
as much as
settle
I think.
less high.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's going to be a very difficult conversation to convince them to ask for what they actually want, because nothing is structured to work that way.
Also, it's Nintendo, so what they want probably is blood.
Yeah, probably. They're like, Massive jerks. But the court did push it through.
Yeah.
So it is on the court. And that's just, I'm just mad at everybody. I just want to make that part clear. Like I'm not saying the court is not to blame, blah, 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 blah. I just think this is whatever. I don't personally care. I don't know enough about that kind of stuff. The result is not okay.
Yeah. Our discussion question here is actually addresses how unusual this harsh punishment is, and kind of asks the question, does this actually reduce piracy? Or, I mean, knowing what we know about human nature, the way people gamble, right? Are people just going to keep making mod chips?
I think it's going to be way worse.
R4 cartridges and whatever else, knowing that they probably will escape any kind of punishment at all, and probably someone else is just going to get strung up to the tree while they continue to run amok.
All I've seen online about this, in a lot of the circles that I end up seeing, is just people deck thumping, like, just pirate everything from Nintendo you possibly can. That's the main communication I've seen out of this. Like, they're not succeeding in making people not mad. I'll say that much. Now,
there's some really good points that are being brought up by the Floatplane chat right now. Vinyl says, I've seen allegations that the mod chip company, not him personally, but the company, brought in an astonishing amount of revenue, up to $10 million over time. And that is fair enough. It is well within Nintendo's right to chase that lost revenue.
Yep.
But it's pretty clear that Gary Bowser doesn't have it.
Yes.
So what? Just because he was the one that you managed to nail down, so you shouldn't go. It feels like they've gone after like a low-level mob crony, and pretty much
dropped the book on him.
Stapled him to the cross, and kind of gone, ha,
we
victory,
did it, guys. Ha, business.
When the boss is still walking free. This is not the win that you think it is, because if organized crime has taught us anything, it's that there's always someone low down who is going to be put in the way to take the fall.
Fed to the machine to satiate whoever or whatever else.
And I'm not saying that what Mr. Bowser did is justifiable.
No.
I'm not saying that it was legal.
Nope.
I'm just saying that compared to almost anything else that I have seen, this really does seem to fit the definition of cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
To not just penalize what someone has, but what they will ever have. When we're not talking about a situation where it could be justified. We're not talking about the livelihood and well-being of a child, that had no choice in the matter. I mean, I guess Nintendo they did have a choice in the matter, actually. They didn't have to pursue such a ridiculous punishment.
Yeah, and like the court put it through. So just like re-upping that.
Yeah.
Yes, the court put it through. Massive problems.
But Nintendo
there.
also had the option to get the verdict and basically say,
well, we're happy to reduce this.
We're happy to reduce this, but let this be, because that's a big part of what Nintendo thinks is such a win here, is that this is a precedent now. Now they've got a precedent to point to and go, yeah, that's right, don't do it. But it could have been. They could have made an example out of Gary Bowser without actually destroying the rest of his life. And you know what? From my point of view, if this had then come up again, case number 2, and they'd gone, all right, we're litigating this again. We've got our precedent now. We're throwing the full book at them. I could even see it. At least they fired a warning shot.
I still don't think so. Because like there's no limitations on this payback.
I'm not saying it would be right. I'm saying it would be better than this. Okay. I wouldn't have even thought this is possible.
Yeah.
The fact that there's no statute of limitations whatsoever.
The fact that the cost of living, like the livable wage in, I think he's in Toronto? I don't know. I don't remember. The cost of livable wage in Canada in general, but especially in like Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, these types of places, is so high. Like the cost of living in Canada versus the average income is a really, really rough calculation right now.
Yeah.
Canada is constantly falling in average GDP. Like you look at like the States versus Canada, and the States' incomes and Canada's incomes are going up at relatively similar rates, but Canada's cost of living is going up at a higher rate. So like we're getting less like whatever you call it, play with money after your cost of living constantly. Canada is getting really, really rough to be in. Now he has to do 25 to 30% more on top of that. And as far as I know, doesn't have job prospects lined up. Like, what does he do?
The other thing that's really offending me here, I think Sofa King Stupid over on Twitch is proving their username kind of inaccurate here, points out, and this is a really good point, that maybe part of what we're so mad about right now, even if we didn't think of it, is the number of white-collar crimes like this that by comparison...
Yeah, no, that's
just get a little slap on the wrist.
That was our intro point, man.
Oh, I don't know. I was just mad already.
I was talking about companies, I guess, but you're talking about...
No, I'm talking about even individual white-collar crime. I mean, why is the Wolf of Wall Street walking free?
Yeah.
Why doesn't he owe whatever for the rest of his life? To be clear, I don't know the exact details of what went down in that particular takedown. The point is that it doesn't matter, right? There's plenty of examples. Like the 2008 financial crisis. Did anyone even get jail time?
I don't think so. I don't know much about it, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that there's like one or two like fall
when it
guys.
was like a huge array of people. Like it should not have just been that. Apparently one guy, as if one person did the whole thing. Sure. Okay. I don't know. I'm pissed. I hate this. It's stupid. You shouldn't be able to condemn someone. And that's basically what they did.
Basically what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, here's a perfect example. What's her face? The one that had the college like scholarships company or something like that. College scholarships, scam, startup. Man, this is really great. Charlie. Oh, I thought it was. Here we go. The startup founder who fooled JP Morgan into spending $175 million on her startup by just fabricating accounts. I don't actually think she's been sentenced yet, but this reminds me, I read a really funny article. Weird. It was an article that investigated how many of Forbes's 30 under 30 eventually ended up like in prison. And it was like a lot, like Sam Bankman-Fried, her, the
Martin Shkreli. I don't know if he was Forbes 30 under 30, but it seems like he probably would have been.
Might have been on the list, not sure. But then there was the one with the fake, I think, diabetes testing thing. Is that Elizabeth Holmes?
I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. That was her thing, I think. Wow, she's the second most popular Elizabeth after Olsen and before Banks, according to my search history. Anyway, she has appealed her unjust conviction apparently. So like, okay, she wants to stay out of prison.
Someone in Twitch chat said, didn't Gary Bowser commit wire fraud, install ransomware on people's devices, and a bunch of other non-Nintendo related crimes? Isn't that what he got really messed up over? At no point in time in this conversation did we ever say that he was a good person.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about him.
Not even once.
Nope.
What I said, what I started out with was that in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, et cetera, I think we have a constitution too, actually, now I think about it. I can't remember what the documents are called. Doesn't matter. The point is that cruel and unusual punishment is not cool. And this really feels like it to me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our next segment here. I just want to explain merch messages. Those of you who are new to the show might think, ooh, I should send a super chat or some Twitch bits. hey, how about you don't do that? And instead of feeding some more money into the overflowing coffers of Amazon and Google, you could send a merch message instead. The main benefit is that instead of just digital pixels on a screen, you can get digital pixels on a screen and your order in the mail from lttstore.com. All you have to do to send a merch message, which will get your little shout out, you know, hey mom, or happy birthday, Janice, or whatever it is that you want to put down there. You can get that popping up on the bottom of the screen, and you will get your order in the mail. Did I already say that part? Right. In order to do that, all you have to do is go to lttstore.com, check out whether it's some of our new items like the Wag hoodie or the mystery plaid flannel, and then in the checkout, you will see a box that will prompt you to fill it out if we are live and leave us a merch message. We will go through them to the best of our ability. I am not going to promise that we are going to get through all of them. Oh, wow. Our dashboard's been upgraded. This is super cool. Hold on a second. I'm just going to show my dashboard real quick. Boop, 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 boop. We now have merch messages per minute. Oh, where'd it go? In queue. It was here. Yeah, here we go.
Why are you showing this?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was cool. We just upgraded the dashboard.
Okay.
What? It's cool.
Yeah.
Merch messages per minute is 3. And then, oh, watch this. Next announcement. So you're going to see it. Did it go? Is it going to go? I don't know. It might go. Something. Anyway, the point is, our cool little dashboard got some upgrades. Hey, thanks, Floatplane team. And so we'll go through them and, to the best of our ability, answer as many of them as we can. Dan, you want to hit us with some merch messages?
Sure. First one that's up here from Bucky. Eager for a bigger Wag hoodie. He's got a 90-pound GSD, 38-inch chest. Any advice for an unemployed embedded C programmer with no online portfolio, how to catch up on programming shifts from the past 20 years?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Oh, yeah.
I knew that ending was coming. Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh at you.
Wow.
Whew.
Embedded C. I mean, Luke.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Do you want to, is a question that I would ask. Because there are still jobs for that. Like, do you want to just look for one of those? You don't technically have to have portfolio thing. What is this? What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Nothing. There's something else going on. Okay. That's really wacky. But anyways, sorry, that's extremely distracting. I'm going to click on another window so it stops doing that to me. All right, we're good. I would just try to continue with the job in your field. There's work for embedded C programmers. There definitely is. I know you don't have an online portfolio, but if you've been doing it for 20 years, it sounds like you should be able to pass a coding test or something else. I don't know.
Yeah, so basically you're saying probably it would be easier to change careers outright
instead of fully well, no, not 100%, but instead of fully re-educating to some web programming setup, which is actually very different than embedded C programming, I would just try to stay in that lane where there is definitely still work.
Right.
Not probably as much work.
Yeah.
But there's definitely still work. If you do want to flip over, there's an absolute vast ocean of free programming learning tools. Learn to Code, I believe, is literally a website. I know it was a saying a while ago, but I think it's a website now. There's Leet Code, there's Free Code Camp, there's if you want to pay for courses, there's some courses from, is it called Udemy? I believe it's Udemy.
Right.
That are supposed to be really good. There's tons of places to relearn, but yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to.
All right, hit us again.
Okay, next up from Pablo. Luke, do you think that with the latest generation of AI tools... Mike is muted. Luke, do you think that with the latest generation of AI tools, that today's youth are going to be depriving themselves of background learning just by getting exactly what they ask for from the model?
I feel like that exact same question, but asked in a slightly different way with slightly different parameters, could have been asked about things for the last huge amount of time. I think I would like to think, I don't know if this is true or not, I would like to think that most people are naturally curious and will learn more than they need to about things. And if you want to hit a certain level of excellence, they're going to have to do that. So I don't know. I think it will compromise it in the exact same way that people are generally not as good at mental math as they used to be because of the calculator. But it's not like people can't do math anymore.
All right, hit us again.
All right, let's get into some rapid fire now, too. Linus, where's the best place to post pupper pics?
Pupper pics?
Yes, of the dogs in the Wag hoodie.
Oh, I mean, I'd love to see them on the forum. That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Also, the reviews on lttstore.com do support image uploads, even though almost nobody uses that feature.
Both.
So we would love to see pictures of your dog in the Wag hoodie. And for that matter, we'd love to see pictures of your guys' setups with the desk pads or, you know, drinking from your water bottle. Extra points if you Photoshop a speech bubble that says lttstore.com while you're drinking. Yeah, I mean, on the ABCs of gaming, I had a couple people send me pictures of them reading it to their little ones, which is super touching. There, okay, these are rapid fire, so I'm supposed to go really fast.
Any meet and greets scheduled for LTX?
Yes, it's called LTX.
Awesome.
I'll be all over the place. The rest of the LTT team will be all over the place, and we're going to have a ton of awesome creators there, some of whom are going to have graciously offered to do meet and greets. I'm really excited.
After you started merch messages, did YouTube or Twitch give you any push for getting away from super chats or bits?
No, I think YouTube was appropriately embarrassed that super chats were not working properly. Yeah, they actually were working for a bit, and they seem to be broken again. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what else to say other than, hey guys, I mean, you know, it's not like I turned them off. I'm happy to take money on YouTube if people just want to throw it at the screen and have their chat highlighted in the side window or whatever. By all means, go ahead and do your thing. But I just think that merch messages not only work properly, but they are a much better value for our viewers.
Yeah. Also, some Floatplane people just pointed out you can edit your reviews and add a picture.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
if there's a review that you've already left and you want to add some picture context, you can do that.
I am buying this screwdriver to put together $20,000 worth of IKEA kitchen cabinets. What tech in the kitchen that is nice touch you would recommend?
A drill.
A kitchen drill?
No, I mean, like, do not use a hand screwdriver to assemble that much IKEA furniture. For the love of all that is good, please use a power tool.
That's so much.
Luke, what's the most frustrating bug you have ever had to deal with?
It broke him. It's the Luke bug. The one where I start thinking and then all I can see is an hourglass turning around inside my own brain.
I'm not going to give a specific, but literally any time I go to be excited to show something to Linus and then it just like immediately shatters in front of my eyes, I'll just insert that scenario instead of a particular bug.
It happens a lot.
It's so I'll like be messing with this thing all day. And then I'll be like, all right, sweet. It's like our scheduled meeting, time to go show Linus. He clicks on one thing and it's just like immediate break.
I do have that effect on things.
I mean, it's good because then we get to try to fix it before we release it. But like, yeah.
And last one, any updates on the LTT laptop bag?
Yes. We're working on it.
Amazing update.
All right, let's jump into another topic here. Game devs are cracking down on hardware cheating. We've talked a fair bit about hardware cheating in the past, but what's funny is this particular method of hardware cheating is not really what we focused on.
No.
So we had talked about things like a robot arm that would move your mouse for you to point at an enemy. So a type of aimbot that would be pretty much impossible for software to detect because there are no additional processes running alongside the game. But
this still actually wouldn't stop that because a lot of those use normal mice.
Right. But the thing is that this kind of hardware cheating isn't something that I ever really thought about, in spite of the fact that I'm a bit of a keyboard mouse supremacist. I still didn't think of it. Activision, Bungie, and Ubisoft are evidently cracking down on cheating via hardware modules that allow the user to bypass standard software anti-cheat detection. So the kind of anti-cheat that they're detecting is users who are disguising their keyboard and mouse as a game controller.
Yes.
And then competing in game controller lobbies
With like
the
aim lock and stuff.
obviously superior keyboard and mouse, plus
The like auto aim and aim lock that you get with a controller.
unbeatable, because now
You can snap onto people way faster. You can switch targets way faster. You can do all this other kind of stuff, but it will hold your aimer on the person.
yeah, it's 360 no scope aim lock,
Yeah.
right? Like
It's a huge advantage.
yeah, so after Activision announced a new hardware pass-through, so that's what it's called, a hardware pass-through detection system for Call of Duty a few weeks ago, a large glut of these devices apparently flooded the secondhand market. This is a cool, maybe unintentional positive side effect of like gacha mechanics, is that it actually punishes people for cheating. Because when you lose your account,
Yeah.
you actually lose in-game items that have your real value. Anyway, this is very much a side discussion. I still wish we'd go back to you buy the game and just have the game. But
as far as my understanding goes, a lot of them just don't care and they'll just buy the skins again.
I mean, okay.
Because like the Tarkov people that cheat, a huge percentage of them buy the most expensive possible version of the game, which is like over 2 times the normal price, and just has like more like inventory space and stuff. Because they just don't. They're paying for the cheat too. They're whales, right?
I always sit down with my kids and I'm like, okay, is that real? No. Do we pay for that? No. All right.
Good. We can continue.
Now, an obvious solution to these issues would simply be to ban all pass-through devices. However, and that's why this is here,
Yeah.
you would also be catching folks who rely on things like the adaptive controller
And the
in the
adaptive
Crossfire.
controller is insanely powerful. This is actually like one of the coolest devices that is released in a really long time. Because if you see all these little like kind of dots at the top, those are all
They can't really see them,
extensible
but yeah, they're there.
things. Like I think it's in here. We could take it out if we wanted.
Yeah, here, I'll
but
take it out.
there's a huge rack of plugs on the back that you can plug more things into the adaptable controller. I had a friend recently who I think they like
Yeah, so basically
fell off
every function of the
Yeah.
controller has its own 3.5 millimeter jack that can be used to plug in some kind of device that is more usable to.
So if your arm is like locked to your side for some reason, you could have a joystick that presses up into your palm and you move it around like this using your whole palm
Yeah.
instead of just your thumb.
Yeah, the joystick connectors are USB and they're on the side.
You could have a button that's near your head, and if you have mobility in your neck, so you could like lean into it, you could press a button using your head. I had a buddy recently who severely damaged one of their wrists, and I had suggested that they use one of these in order to gain input into a game that they could use while having their hand in a cast. These things are actually amazing.
And essential.
Yes. So I was so proud of Microsoft when they released that, and I still think that's extremely cool that they're supporting it.
And so if we were to ban pass-through devices, it would be really
That's
hard to
brutal.
tell the difference between a bad pass-through device for cheaters and a pass-through device for people who just want to play the game.
Yeah.
Bungie in particular has emphasized they're focused on players who use these devices to gain an unfair competitive advantage and has explicitly reassured players who require adaptive tools to participate that they will not be banned. I mean, I'd be surprised if the odd...
You get accidentals.
Yeah, there's
False
probably going to
positives.
be some collateral damage here, but hopefully we can avoid too much of that, because that is the last thing that people who rely on their adaptive controller to play need to deal with.
Yes, agreed.
In addition to device detection, the Bungie security team will be monitoring gameplay for unusual patterns of player behavior to indicate cheating. However, it is still possible and even likely that these systems, will sometimes flag players with a legitimate need. Discussion question here. Bungie specifically defines cheating as using an outside tool to change the intended experience of the game, in this case by removing a challenge. Is this a good understanding of cheating, and how would you define it? See, I wouldn't just say changing the intended experience of a game. I would say changing the intended experience of the game for another player. Because changing the intended experience of the game for myself is modding. Changing the experience for someone else is screwing them over. And you know what? I had wanted to talk about this actually when we were discussing the Gary Bowser verdict, where I basically was going to say like time equals money. And in a sense, that $14.5 million sentence is basically like handing down multiple lifetime sentences if that's all that this person could ever earn. You kind of get what I mean? And so to me, it's the proportionality of the sentence that just makes absolutely no sense here.
Yeah.
So in this same way, the way that I define wrong is in the way that it affects someone else. Now, obviously, there are limitations. If someone were to, follow me around and just sit there being upset and offended every time I used the word the, I would kind of go, well, then leave. Goodbye. Also, enjoy life as someone who's just perpetually offended by everything. Bye.
He never said the in that sentence.
Yeah, I was careful. Respectful.
Very good.
Wasn't on purpose.
I was trying to catch you.
But in this case, there is a reasonable expectation from that other player that they should be able to play the game without somebody impeding them in a way that was not expected nor intended by the game developer. So in our mutually understood definition of what this experience is supposed to be, you're affecting not only your own, but you're affecting someone else's, and in a way that is detrimental.
And it's
that
clearly
is the definition of cheating to me.
It's clearly trying to break rules, because like with the keyboard masked as a controller thing that we're talking about, you can play with a controller or you can play with a keyboard. You're screwing with things to make it think that you're doing something that you're not. So there's clear intention here.
Yeah, I think the intent is another really. I think the intent is important, even if it's difficult to prove.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, I'm generally pretty receptive to anything that makes the gaming playing field more level and that rewards people who play the game properly and punishes cheaters. In this case, all I hope is that we don't see too many innocent users caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the big Seagate ban?
Yeah.
Or rather, the fine for violating an export ban. I feel like I've done all the
intense.
topics up till now.
Seagate Technology Holdings has admitted to wrongdoing and agreed to pay a $300 million fine to settle allegations that it sold 7.4 million hard disks to Huawei, violating a 2020 export ban. This is the largest single administrative penalty ever levied by the U.S. Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security, and it is meant to represent double the estimated profit Seagate accrued from the illicit sales. Seagate's annual net income for 2022 was $1.6 billion, and their estimated profit from sales was a period, because we don't have that note. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah.
But profits
probably
can be a lot less than
150
rev.
million based on that the settlement was meant to be double the expected profits.
That makes sense.
So we can solve for X here. Let's go.
Yeah, very good. Some background information. In August of 2020, the U.S. Commerce Department expanded export restrictions against Huawei after they allegedly tried to obtain advanced technologies to undermine U.S. national security. While Huawei's two other primary suppliers stopped shipments, Seagate continued sales for 11 months as Huawei's sole supplier. Seagate even extended multiple lines of credit worth $1 billion to Huawei to help them purchase more hard drives. And to be clear, everyone knew that this export ban was going on.
Oh yeah,
it was like
the
in
biggest
all of
news.
the news.
Yeah.
We talked about it on WAN show. That's even like probably one of the smaller ones. Talked about like every news agency. They 100% knew what they were doing.
So here's what I want to know. On the one hand, I think you and I probably both agree that if a corporation breaks the law, the fine should be such that it really isn't worth it to break that law again.
Yeah.
And I think we would probably agree that this is positive in that sense. But here's my problem with it, is that it sort of comes across, maybe not hypocritical, but I guess the cynic in me looks at this and goes, So it turns out that you do know how to properly punish this sort of behavior when you actually care. But when the transgression is against the individual user, it's like, I don't know, $4 per user, class action, whatever. Actually, most of it just goes to the lawyers. This seems like a good system.
Yeah.
Where is this justice for individual users, particularly when it comes to data privacy or when it comes to other rights violations? How is it that, someone like a TransUnion, man, I remember being so mad. TransUnion's own website, back when I had to sign up for it for credit monitoring because something, my insurance wouldn't cover me unless I had credit monitoring, something. And it doesn't matter. The point is I had to have this stupid service that I signed up for credit monitoring because of some identity something incident that took place, and TransUnion's own website had a help article talking about the importance of two-factor, and at the time TransUnion's own accounts didn't support two-factor. I pointed this out to the rep and they're just like, And how many breaches have they suffered? And so
I know of at least one, yeah.
And we're not talking breaches of trivial things, right? Like, oh man, nothing's trivial. Nothing's trivial when it comes to personal data. But we're talking, SIN numbers, which are our equivalent of an SSN, right? A social security number. These are things that, while technically can be changed, are a royal pain in the butt to change and can be extremely beneficial to ne'er-do-wells, right? Like there's databases out there that are going to have basically every piece of information that you could ever want to keep out of people's hands pretty much across the board at this point, because nobody is actually punishing this stuff in a way that is meaningful and forces them to take data security seriously. I mean, we went through, this was an interesting conversation. I was complaining to Luke about how our new password manager takes a long time to open. And he was like, well, let me tell you about that. That's because they are actually decrypting it. The reason our old password manager was so fast was because it wasn't being stored at all times in an encrypted manner. And I'm like, oh, well, that's freaking amazing then.
Yeah, the usability of the stuff we're using now is genuinely worse in like a lot of ways, in my opinion. But theoretically, it's more secure.
So on the one hand, yeah, I'm happy. But on the other hand, no, I'm actually like pretty pissed off, right? Because this is just yet another double standard, and I'm just kind of tired of it. So, yeah, show us you actually mean business. There. Dan, that just still says the thing we're doing. We did too.
Way to go, Dan.
Dan's keeping us in line.
It's supposed to be additional topics.
Additional ones.
Yeah, you can do as many as you want until I tell you to do something else.
Oh. All right. Cool. Well, your average consumer.
Yeah.
Posted a review of the LTT backpack.
Tech reviewer, pack rat, and lover of big backpacks, Judner Aura, reviewed the LTT backpack. He said pros: huge capacity, highly functional, comfortable, doesn't cause strain after long periods wearing it. Well built, great material and layout. He loves all the pockets and the compartments, and anti-theft features and RFID blocking. Cons might not be for everyone. Sometimes you don't need big, and it can be visually plain, somewhat boxy. A major downside for people looking for a more, potentially in their opinion, stylish backpack. Very loud orange inside. Would prefer teal.
Really? Oh, dang it. Where's the bloody...
Is that teal? I don't think that's teal.
I mean, it's tealish.
What I'm looking at looks like black.
No. Look over there.
Oh.
So he wants the Lux bag. Anyway, carry on.
Summary quote. This is directly from him. If you're in the camp that you don't care about looks, you just want it to work well, you want it to do its job to the pinnacle of how it should be done, this bag is absolutely for you.
I'm taking that as a W.
Big win.
I'm taking that as a W.
Those.
Because Judner is a bit of a baghead. That came out wrong. But I think you understand what I mean.
I didn't think about it that way.
You bloody baghead. Okay, no, not like that.
Is that a thing?
No, I don't think so. It kind of sounds like it's like a weird insult. Dan, can you confirm? Is that a thing? Just calling someone a bag? Okay, perfect. He claims to be British. Anyway, the point is that bag enthusiasts.
Okay. I'm going to finish the quote.
Cougar hunter? Wait, sorry, what?
Oh my! I'm going to finish the quote.
Yeah, go ahead.
I need to stop, Linus.
Yeah.
If you do care about looks, it's tougher. Kudos to Linus and the team. They made an amazing product, worth every penny. You just got to see if it's something that fits your style.
You know what?
It's all fair. It's good. Big W.
I consider that very fair because we knew what we were doing. People talk about how it's boxy, and I'm like, yeah. That's how it fits so much stuff. It fits
like perfectly snugly under an airplane
It's
seat.
Basically the size of an airplane carry-on. Like, what do you want from me? That's by design. It's because we expect people to be able to, this is great. Oh, I love this. Judner's list and a picture of everything that he carries in the bag. This is freaking awesome. Okay? One laptop, sometimes two. That's by design because we know that so many people will have a personal and a work laptop with them sometimes at the same time, particularly for like when they're traveling, right? 3 tablets, okay. Extra phone, yes. 3 portable gaming devices, okay. Really, man? I mean, you know what? These do address
What's it look like? A
very different needs.
A Switch, a Steam Deck, and a Pocket?
Yeah.
I think.
All right. Bunch of cables. Heck yeah. 2 pairs of headphones. All right. Hidden AirTag. Love it. 2 SSDs, USB hub, and a portable charger. Man, I love this because honestly, I've only spoken with Judner a handful of times. Like, I wouldn't describe us as best of friends. I definitely respect his work, and every interaction I've ever had with him has been extremely positive. But this is not just like, it's not paid. It's not, my buddy doing me a solid or anything like that. This is what they call, what's it called? Earned media, where someone actually saw the product, felt it was valid enough to not only cover it, but actually daily freaking drive it, use it for an extended period of time, and we still get the positive review. I don't think we even sent one to him. I would have to confirm that.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but I think he might have bought it. Either way, like I said, I've been following his work for a long time, and I respect him. I don't think he would be the kind of person who would give a favorable review just because we did provide a review sample, but I actually don't know. So I'm gonna find out. I will find out. I'm calling the person who would know, Mr. Nick Light. Do. Who needs time off when you can talk to Linus about work? This will go through at some point, maybe. Hello? Tell us? Hello?
Unless
you have reached the voice.
Oh, seriously? Okay.
Unless it's all of us trying to do work and Linus just won't stop playing Vampire Survivors.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do that.
Did you just call him in a different way?
Yeah. That way, if he's like banging or whatever, he'll know it's important.
Is he out of breath?
Jeez. Hey, you're live on the WAN show. Hello?
What's up?
Hey, okay, hold on. I got to turn you up a little bit here. Hey, I just wanted to know, did we send Judner a backpack or did he buy it?
I think he bought it.
Okay, but you're not aware of us sending one to him?
Not to my recollection, but it's been a little while, so it is possible, but I think he bought it.
Okay. If I don't remember it and you don't remember it, I'd say that's a pretty solid chance that we didn't send it to him. Okay, thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Okay, no worries.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, he's back to whatever he was doing now. I mean, it might get to take a second to get back in the mood, but
Yeah. Or not.
by now he's probably, settled in. Anyway, the point is, hey, thanks for the review. Appreciate it. Even if it had been more constructive, I would still have appreciated it. We really do value honest feedback. But I'm definitely more excited about W's. I'll say that much. Okay. You know what? No, we'll talk about that later. Sorry. Dave, do you want to pick a topic?
Sure. SpaceX Starship successfully explodes.
Okay, that's not actually that misleading.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually, yeah, pretty much.
Do go on.
SpaceX launched its new Starship rocket system yesterday. A few minutes later, the rocket experienced what SpaceX Twitter account called, and their live stream and lots of other things, it's actually an actual terminology, a RUD, or a rapid unscheduled disassembly before stage separation, i.e., kaboom. Much online commentary has framed this as a failure, but it wasn't. It was a test flight for a new, more powerful rocket system. The flight was unmanned, and there was no reported injuries or damage to property beyond the rocket and its payload. That is not true at all, but I'll go into that in a second. SpaceX has previously warned that the odds of success were low, and the primary purpose of the launch was to collect data. And data collection, did they do? A bunch of things was very useful. The launch pad is gone. So there was damage to more things than just the rocket and its payload, because the launch pad was like burnt to an absolute, it's literally gone. There's a hole.
Right.
So that wasn't intended. And there's some ideas there. There was environmental damage. Yeah, I'm assuming so. The whole launch pad is gone and there's a huge hole. So you could call that environmental damage. They have some plans of how to deal with that in the future. A lot of them actually, and I'm sure they'll address it. But this is one of the whole goals of this thing, right? Unintended. Someone in Twitch chat. Unintended launch pad removal. Yeah. You know, they rapidly prepped the site for new development.
Kerbal Space Program style. Let's go.
Yeah. So I think it's sweet.
Someone apparently got hit by debris.
Did they actually?
That's what someone's saying. A car got hit 500 meters away, which is
500 meters from a launch site. Probably shouldn't park your car there.
Well,
note for next time.
I mean, yeah, but also like it could have been a lot more than 500 meters too.
Yeah. I'm not going to believe any of those things unless I see official details. Ooh, is this a screenshot of the launch pad? Yeah, okay.
I'm coming over to your laptop.
Yeah, so damage to only the Starship is a not so much, because there used to be a flat launch pad there.
We call that a whoopsie doodles.
Yep. But again, like as far as my understanding goes, they were aware that there might be some problems there, and they already have plans for fixing it for next time. This is what tests are kind of about, right? Like, there's going to be problems. The fact that it blew up was not actually like an issue. It was fine. They went into this 100% expecting that could be a very likely outcome, right? If my understanding was correct, they expected it to land in the water and be like not properly recoverable, even if it didn't blow up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it's a thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's cool. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't think we're going to show the footage here, but you should go watch it because it's actually like really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. I've read some theories. I don't know how much of this stuff is true, but some of the issues with the launch pad are why some of the boosters didn't actually fire properly. So the boosters not firing properly might not be as big of an issue as we initially thought, because I think it might be related to the launch pad. I don't know if that's true or not. I've seen a lot of information on this that has already been debunked. So yeah, look into it yourself if you want. The amount of armchair scientists has been very fun to watch. These idiots, they should have done this thing. Yeah, sure, dude.
Yeah, but they
whatever
didn't
you
think
say.
of that.
Yeah, like there's plenty of things, as far as I can tell from actual real sources, that like they did think of. But you're gonna think of different things forever, and at a certain point, you just need to test what you got.
It's kind of like a lot of the things that I see in the comments under our videos. Like a really good one is at some point I was talking about how we've reordered more screwdrivers, and someone basically was like, after the failure of the backpack and screwdriver, how could he possibly be ordering? Okay, come outside your little bubble that you live inside for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Or like, would you even be willing to consider that I am a just marginally rational being for a moment, and that I wouldn't throw good money after bad? If I'm ordering more Okay, if we're working on Lux backpack, if we're working on new colorways of the screwdriver, if that's happening, could you not consider a reason other than me being phenomenally stupid that I might be ordering more of them, right? Like, right, sorry, I actually worded that wrong. Maybe I am phenomenally stupid, but it was probably successful, right? Otherwise, I would be phenomenally stupid to be ordering more. So if your brain can't handle any reality where I am not just spectacularly dumb and these were a failure, maybe the problem is you. And it's the same for, looking at stuff like this. Like, a lot of experts do work at SpaceX, and they've done a lot of stuff that's, quite frankly, just mind-bending, game-changing. Yeah, utter failure. LTTstore.com says HB Curb over on Twitch orders more failed products that mysteriously sell out. It's probably a conspiracy. I'm probably hiding those products in a warehouse somewhere, just shoveling them in there so that I can pretend they're sold out so that I can order more.
Apparently there was, I don't know if this is legit at all. I'm not even going to show it, but there's a van and it shows it getting hit by what looks like some flying blocks of cement.
No, apparently it was parked there to record the launch and they knew the risk. Yeah. And that is real.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Chat was talking about that a fair bit before.
Well, okay. I mean, if that's the case, then sounds good. Because, if you go to watch these things, you have to be really far out.
That's still damage.
For sure.
So it definitely still wasn't just the rocket.
That's
the only point.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I never thought it was just the rocket. But yeah, really, really, really cool to see. I'm excited. I have had no time since the launch to actually look into it because I've just been very busy, but I'm excited to look into it more. And I've heard lots of really cool things and I want to see more of it. I watched just a little 3-4 minute clip.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So I'm excited to watch more.
Nemzi in Floatplane Chat says, these guys clearly don't understand the concept of a whale or how many you have. It's not actually the whales that drive the store success.
What do you mean?
What?
I could totally see a whale buying 50,000 screwdrivers. Why not?
That's not how that works. We have stats, and there are people whose lifetime spend is very high because as much of their wardrobe is LTT store as mine is, but there's only so many shirts you can buy.
Yeah.
There's a limit, right? You can't go full I'm trying to think Candy Crush whale on this. Rise of Kingdoms or whatever the mobile games are called. What's that cringe one that everyone's mad at people for taking sponsorship money from? Not Clash of Clans.
Raid Shadow Legends?
Raid Shadow Legends, right? We're not talking about people spending tens of thousands of dollars on LTTstore.com. You can only use so many screwdrivers at once. No, we actually just really did sell over 100,000 screwdrivers. I think we're up to about 130,000 now. We're moving. We removed the counter, but I mean, I'm all about transparency, guys. So we're still moving on average about 200 to 250 a day. It's wildly successful. And no, it's not because we have somehow bamboozled people into buying it.
There's just one person. It just takes them that long to add 250 to the cart. It's I'm telling you, man, it's just one whale runs the whole store. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think everything we release is successful?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be just that one.
It's not because they're good products. It's just one big whale.
Yeah, any opposition I've had to anything that Elon Musk has done is actually just a big smokescreen because we're BFFs and he orders everything off of LTTstore.com just as a personal favor. Yeah, and then I've got to kind of run interference on this whole thing. That's where my 4D chess theories about him trying to offload Twitter while he secretly turns it into the everything app, but people won't see it coming because I'm out here talking about how he's actually trying to get rid of it and then the value's going to go up and the shares are going to be worth so much.
It's a brilliant plan.
We should probably talk about Twitter.
Oh, what?
Not much.
What part?
Well, I lost my check mark.
What did they do? Oh. To be clear, neither of us ever had personal ones.
I was actually so far ahead of the curve on this one. It's not often. Look, I'm gonna take this W where I can because it is so rare that I am ahead of the trend. Okay? I was already too cool for a blue check mark. We had one on the corporate account, and that was really important because it reduces impersonation. Well, that's really the main reason. It reduces impersonation, and we don't want a situation where people are getting scammed. Twitter seemed to care about that before, so they would verify notable personalities and companies, and we treated that account as our corporate account, and we continue to. It's at Linus Tech. But once I handed Linus Tech, which was my personal account before, once I handed it over to Linus Media Group, Inc., and then started my personal Twitter, which is at Linus G. Sebastian, even once they opened up Twitter verification to anyone who applied for it, as long as you verified your identity, I was like, no. I'm gonna be verified by my follower count and by my irreverence here on in everything that I am tweeting at people. And if you don't know that that's actually me, then I guess you just don't know. Guess you're not in the know. So I am just as unverified as I was before, but slightly less irreverent because I haven't really posted that much. I came out of semi-retirement to mock someone who suggested that I couldn't afford the $8 a month for a blue tick. And I was like, let me tell you, $8 a month, utterly meaningless in the context of Linus Media Group's operations here. If we don't have a blue check mark, it's because I decide not to.
It also isn't $8 for the company, right?
So it depends. It depends what you're trying to do. I forget how the $1,000 a month one works. I haven't really looked into it that much because, frankly, I don't care. A free speech platform where you have to pay to be heard is not a free speech platform. That's simply not how that works.
What does he call it again? I don't remember.
Town Square.
No.
Oh.
The form of he's free speech but not free.
I don't know. Anything you have to pay for is not free because it doesn't apply to the people who can't pay for it. So it's
he had a term for it because you could still tweet, you just don't get the promotion or whatever.
Oh, right, which is exactly what Twitter was accused of doing in the past. Which is effectively
I'm not trying to defend it. He had a word for it or a phrase for it or something. I don't remember what it was.
It was the kind of thing that if you believe it, then
free speech, paid reach. Yeah, I think that's it.
Then you, I don't know. I guess.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of reach. There you go.
Sure.
Anyways, moving on because Twitter sucks.
No, I want to talk about our plan. We have a plan.
For Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
So depending on how things go over the next little while with Twitter, it could be that, we continue to engage on there the way that we always have. It could be that it ends up not making as much sense. Like if the audience dwindles, then, we might not continue. But whatever ends up happening over on Twitter, I think what we're going to do is we're going to lean hard into YouTube community. Yeah, the reach is better. It engages more directly with our core audience, which is on YouTube. Yeah. On the occasional times that we have posted what we put on Twitter, which is usually just kind of posting and stuff like that, it's been received extremely well in YouTube community posts.
I will also say for the Floatplane people, if you're not already on the beta site, I would suggest doing it because it's way more awesome and stuff. But you might have noticed a lot of little features coming out over the last few weeks. Another one of those that we're planning, which is very close to being ready, is configurable notifications for subchannels. So you might already see if you're subscribed to Linus Tech Tips that's a collapsed sidebar too. Oh, but you can see how there's all the
right.
So there's the arrow at the bottom.
1 sec, I'm working on. I'm working on it. There we go.
You can manually collapse it, but there's one little update now where click the little arrow. So you can expand and collapse that without re-navigating where you are.
Oh, okay. Oh,
there
cool.
You go.
Okay.
See? So that changed literally today. But we're gonna have another sub channel for these social posts or community posts or whatever they are. We just don't want to add it right now because right now you wouldn't be able to turn the notifications off for just that.
Right.
And if you have notifications on for everything that Linus Tech Tips offers and LMG Clips, which is going to be added,
it'll be a little overwhelming.
And social posts and everything else, it's going to be very overwhelming. So we're waiting to add some of those until this feature comes in, which is literally right around the corner. And then you'll be able to manually configure notifications for each subchannel however you want. And then we'll have all those types of things on here as well. So you won't be left out.
We've got some good extras on Floatplane right now, by the way. This is an early access video that's coming up this weekend. What happened? Nope. This is an early access video that's coming up this weekend. Sports branded tech products are a pretty bad deal.
I just watched the intro. It's great. It's really good.
Okay, we can show the intro.
Oh, you don't have to? Yeah, okay.
Nope.
No sound. Sports ball! Home run, touchdown! Between the pipes was great. And then just immediate... It's so relatable because the second you pulled those onto screen, I had the same reaction. I was like, oh, what are those?
You know what? That's actually part of our intro laws. We've been working on how to write better intros lately with the writing team. And one of the laws is that the first 20 seconds has to contain something that makes it broadly relatable. Because no matter what it is, whether it's a 25-year-old voodoo brick, say, for example.
Oh, my. That's actually pretty cool. I'm excited for that.
Whether it's something like that or whether it's a brand new graphics card just released, $1,600, we have to find some way to make it relatable. So with the voodoo brick, say hypothetically, if we were going to make a video about that, a way to make it relatable might be to tie it into the evolution of multi-GPU technology over the years, where it came from, what it became, where we think it's going, because multi-GPU is not gone.
Yeah.
And it's coming back stronger than ever. Mark my words.
Oh.
And we make a really strong argument for that in the video.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, or with the $1,600 GPU, I mean, most people will never own that.
Yeah.
That's not opinion. That's a fact. Most people will never own that GPU.
For sure.
But how can we make that more broadly relatable? Well, we can talk about how the performance and the features that we're seeing here first and are excited about here first are going to make their way down to lower price points until, you know, whether it's 2 or 3 or 5 years down the line, it will be attainable to most people. And really, us covering this card is us just showing it to you early. You could think of it that way. So I think that's, you know, the angle that we would take if we were to make a video about micro LED technology, which I am also really hoping to do soon, but nothing's actually locked in on that. Right, the last thing I had wanted to show you guys over on Floatplane is that we've got a really great series of exclusives going on right now.
Ooh,
this one's called Their First Time.
I enjoy those. Those are great.
Nick and Colton react to their first times on camera. Really cool. We've got extras from the Working for LMG. So these are full, I believe, uncut. I haven't watched them because I'm not allowed, but I believe they're uncut interviews from that video. So you guys can watch through those if you want, if you're over on Floatplane.
Yeah.
The platforms, that's another popular punching bag for haters, is how much we suck.
Oh yeah.
And how bad Floatplane is. There's a post on Reddit right now with like 1,500 upvotes or something like that about how awful Floatplane is and how we're failures and whatever. It's like you can actually do the math.
There is some fair criticisms in there.
Absolutely.
There often is, for sure.
However, one of the criticisms could have been dealt with if they had just clicked the link in the video description, which does take them to the page that has the pricing and has the content on it.
So we actually realized that there is an issue with that. So that is completely true.
Oh.
But if you view it on a mobile phone, so not in the app, but on a mobile phone, it collapses it and you can't see the pricing.
Oh.
So we're like, so we'll fix that.
So shout out, we will fix that, but it is not a failure, and that's not just, huffing copium. It is actually not a failure because it actually generates millions of dollars a year in revenue.
Yeah.
Which is more than what most of the haters have done. So
yeah, and like we know the front page sucks. We're just focused on other stuff. We will make the front page better.
And at least lately, we've been showing off new features often enough that people actually believe us that we're working on other stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
We really were working on the other stuff before. It
wasn't really showable, but
hard.
It is now. I really like I know we literally just talked about it, but okay. So the little arrow that you guys saw next to the channel where you could expand and contract the subchannels, that used to be attached to clicking the channel at all. And Jaden got it in today so that you can just click the arrow separately, and now it's like a fidget toy for me. I just sit here and expand and contract and expand all the time. I don't know.
We're gonna
but it's fun.
we're gonna keep working on quality of life features. This is a really cool just message. I happen to be looking at Floatplane chat. TJ Ford 1011 says, "I've been experimenting with using AI tools to assist with building customer websites faster. Is that something I should disclose to the customer?"
Oh.
Does a carpenter
No.
have to say what brand of saw they used?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think-
Unless if you are using anything private that you are giving to this AI tool, and it is a externally ran tool, that could be like a data privacy issue.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using if you're feeding it customer data, or you're feeding it things that are covered under an NDA or any
Sure.
other, you need to be very careful about that.
But if you're just using a better hammer than the other guy,
then whatever. If you're like, oh, I need to make some button that does something and I want you to help me do it, and it helps you do it, like, well, who cares? You don't have to disclose that.
That's the way I see it.
That would actually be like weird to disclose, in my opinion. Like if your contractor was like, by the way, just
I use a McClellan.
thought you knew.
Yeah.
I use what was that?
That's a Bob's Burgers reference. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I was going to say like DeWalt or something.
Yeah, Teddy has a McClellan hammer. It defeats Bob's knife. His Fujinawa knife. I think that was the brand. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But yeah, if it's something like that, I'd be like, why are you telling me? I don't care.
Yeah. But you do care about our sponsors. The show is brought to you today by Vessi. Do you enjoy wet feet? Well, I don't. I enjoy Vessi. Vessi says their shoes 100% waterproof. Puddles? Fear not. You can walk in them like no one's business. Their Dymatech technology keeps their shoes light and breathable while still being stretchy and comfortable. And you want to bring extra pairs with you on vacation? Well, no problem. Because of their stretchiness, you can easily pack your Vessis into your backpack. And we didn't even mention how light they are. They're super light. So rain or shine, here or there, it's always a great occasion to wear a pair of Vessis. Go to vessi.com/WANshow to get 15% off your purchase with code WANshow. Hey, that's our parking lot. It's almost like we care about our sponsors and shoot nice footage, but we don't go farther than our parking lot and the benches next to our building. That was where that other shot was from. I mean, we're in Vancouver. Look, we don't have to go far to get rainy.
Puddles.
Yeah, puddles. The show is also brought to you by Zoho One. Do you know why Captain Linus is sad? Well, it's quite difficult to have your business live long and prosper. Oh no. Zoho One can make your life easier. Zoho One takes the essential elements of any business, like accounting, marketing, HR, and combines them into one unified operating system. Their easy-to-use interface keeps tools organized, so you don't need to be a technical expert, and you can send out purchase orders, create marketing campaigns, and manage shift scheduling all in a few clicks. Their CX dashboard helps you identify where you need to improve your customer experience, and you can see all the data you need at one glance. Do you want to work from the Death Star using their mobile app? No, because that's Star Wars. Wrong universe. Their mobile apps make your dream come true. You can easily run your business anywhere, including the USS Enterprise. So check out Zoho One using the link down below and get a free 30-day trial with no credit card required. Thank you, Dennis. That was lovely. Finally, the show is brought to you by Squarespace. So, 69% government-funded media. Okay. Do you want to build a website for your business that is 69% owned by the government? Look no further. Making your website is easy with Squarespace. For our April Fool's video, Jacob even used it to build a website for imported juice exchange in just minutes. Whether it's for business or personal use, you can build your own portfolio, you can write a blog. Squarespace is easy to use, and their themes and templates make your life super easy. They even look great on mobile devices. If you already have a website, Squarespace makes it super simple to port your domain over and start using their customization and marketing tools to really stand out. With 24/7 customer support, they're always there to help. So don't wait. Get started on your page today by going over to squarespace.com/WAN to get 10% off your first purchase. Alrighty.
Amazing.
Thank you, Dennis. That was very helpful.
Live, laugh, liao.
Okay.
Merch messages. We're supposed to do 3 of them.
Okay, Dan, hit me.
Okay, let's see. Sorry, you gotta give me some time in between these.
You put the
Yeah, you're the one who put it there.
I know. I'm new at this. It's a new system. All right. A couple merch messages.
You're
one,
new.
Yeah, I am. Luke,
Got him.
how do you handle having your boss also be your landlord? I am beginning to have problems crop up because of this, like being held to different standards than my coworkers.
Oh, interesting.
Be better. No,
Wow. Toxic.
I don't know.
I mean,
Are you sure that's what's happening? Or is this something that your brain is just running with?
it could be.
It might also be happening. I'm not saying it's not, but like...
Because I could see that power dynamic making the boss / landlord feel like they could push this person harder, knowing that there's no escape from them.
That could absolutely happen. There's also a level of shared frustrations.
Yeah.
Where like if
Not taking care of the lawn when that was explicitly part of the deal for their low rent, for example. Which generates complaints from the neighbors.
How could you?
that could bleed into, shared frustrations at work and stuff.
Yeah, it could.
But yeah, I don't know. So that's it could be totally legit, but I do think you need to evaluate the situation, make sure that you're not making it a thing that it isn't at the same time, because that is a relatively common thing in these types of dynamics where you feel like you're being persecuted for something when you might not be.
And I'd always recommend talking to people. Start with an I statement. I know it's like cringe or whatever, high school counselor stuff, but start with I feel, and get it out there. Because if you don't get it out there, you can't expect it to magically resolve itself. Even if they're doing this on purpose, hey, at least it's good to know.
And
get the closure, right?
Be open to the idea that you don't really have the whole story. So like let them explain their side of it as well.
And hope that they'll be open to hearing your side as well, because that's what it takes to have a functional relationship.
I'm assuming you're relatively close to this person, considering they are your boss and landlord. So the fact that they agreed to both, or you agreed to both or something, is probably not just chance.
There was probably an okay relationship at some point, I would guess.
Yeah. So you can probably get
Unless you
there.
work at like Foxconn or something. And you're like living in their like on-site dormitories or whatever. We're assuming that this is like a Western arrangement.
Yes, that's
all right,
fair.
What's next?
Okay, next up, howdy LTT. My friends have discovered that each of us makes a dismissive comment or gesture whenever they want to switch topics, i.e., wow, that's crazy, or just a head shake. Can y'all call each other's out?
I think both Luke and I are direct enough to just say, alrighty then, moving on. And just change the topic of conversation.
Yeah, I think our tell is telling the other person that we want to move on.
Yeah, and our whole generation basically treats the like the emoji, like the single emoji, as punctuation for the conversation. Like I think that's pretty well understood.
Yeah, if you don't, I think reacting to it, because modern messaging systems have reacts.
I guess that's the new one.
That's less of a thing a bit.
Oh, okay.
I think if you send a whole message that is just like a thumbs up emoji, it's like, yeah, this is over. If you send just a react, I might interpret it that way, but I might also be wondering if you're going to do that and then send a message in response.
I'm just trying to find like some examples of us just, okay, LOL. That's a good conversation termination.
But that might not be like a I want to stop talking about this now, and that might just be I don't really have anything to add.
No, because I have perfect examples here. Okay, so we were talking about the Valentine's party with AIs.
Yeah.
And then I basically go, yeah, so the party just took place with them interacting with each other. My brain is brokey. Then I sent, thinking of streaming today, but kind of feeling asocial, and posted a picture of my bike painting thing. And then you said, you don't have to stream painting it. It could just be a stream and you could not interact with chat. And I said, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I was hoping chat could help. And you say, lol, well then. And that's the end of the conversation.
Well, see, but that's one of those situations
Hold
where
on,
I'm not.
I have another one. Right before that, I message you and I say, oh, we were talking about the housing market. And you have that stick guy that's like poking, come on, do something.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I'd just make sure you check out a house with someone who knows a fair bit about renos if you can. Might help recognize any corners they cut, but it'll still be impossible to say what they covered up or painted over. And you go, well, probably something, some stuff. And I go, it doesn't hurt to keep your eye on things. Hurts a little. And you go, yeah, lol. And the conversation's over. Yeah,
Again,
I think lol is the ultimate conversation termination.
It's not because I'm trying to terminate the conversation. I don't really have anything else to add.
Right, but that's terminating the conversation.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But it's not like, I think what he's saying is they are like done with this conversation and want to move on.
Well, I don't know. I think maybe it's Austin's own perception of the dismissiveness. Like, to me, Luke's not being dismissive. He's just done talking about it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. I guess you got to be secure in being able to acknowledge that what you're talking about ain't that interesting.
Or there's just nothing else to add necessarily.
Yeah. You know what? Oh, man. So that kind of makes me think about how you and I used to complain about WAN show topics before. When people would go, wow, this is really interesting, and they'd put it in the WAN show doc, and we'd go, this is not, it's interesting, but it is not a topic of conversation.
It's like a statement. It's not.
It's a thing, but there's no real room to discuss it. And so maybe you need to recognize that sometimes you think something is a topic of conversation. Like, okay, I'd say parents are the classic thinking something is a topic of conversation when actually it's just a boring statement that no one cares about. You know, Timmy took his first steps today.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hey, look at this funny thing Timmy said on video. Lol. That's not my kid. I don't give a shit, right? Like, it's no, I'm serious. Like, I value a human. I assign value to a human life. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
That particular one is not any more or less interesting to me.
If you have a ton of interaction with that one in particular,
sure,
then maybe, yeah.
But I'm talking the stereotypical parent who is just
never met this person's kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I'm not a psychopath. I just don't have a connection to all
definitely
8 billion or however many people there are on the earth.
This is definitely a thing.
Being a psychopath.
No.
Oh.
No.
I thought it was being a sociopath.
I mean, no, okay. So no, it's also not being a sociopath. Like I said, I do assign value to human life. I do have emotions. I just don't, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to be that invested in more than a handful of lives. I have not a lot of friends, but the ones that I have are extremely close and extremely dear, and I just don't have the brain space. I mean, maybe this is just an ADHD thing at a certain point, because I can only pay attention to so many things.
I think it's also very normal, though. And I think a lot of people that would go against what you're saying in public settings might not actually feel against it inside.
Right. So I'm just saying the quiet part out loud.
I think a little bit. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep doing my lols. I don't consider it dismissive. I just consider
it's not, you're not terminating the conversation. It's not anything to add.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. Now that I'm aware of it, every time we talk, you end the conversation with lol. This is 3 in a freaking row here. Oh, I ended one with a JFC. Okay. Yeah, which is, I'd say, an equally it's essentially a reaction emoji. Yeah.
Okay. But there's often things we'll say to each other or share with each other that, like, there isn't necessarily a conversation to be had.
Yeah, and we're like, honestly, I'm busy right now and I don't have time to sit and text with you for 20 minutes. It's just, I saw this, haha.
Yeah.
See you later.
That's all it really needs. Yeah. I don't know. You'll take however much time with it you want. I don't really care.
Dan, I'm lost.
Okay.
There's no sign. I don't know what to do.
You only did 2.
I don't know how to. This show. Well, then the sign should still be there. He's going to put the sign back. Here, we can watch him. No, we're going to watch him put the sign back. So mad. There it is.
There you go.
All right.
There's your sign.
Hit me again.
Hi, Luke.
It was lol.
Did I broadcast it?
Conversation's over. Forget it.
Okay, next merch message. Hi, Luke. I'm currently in networking class, and I know that you guys have touched on this before, but I was wondering what are some of the larger costs of video streaming, and why are those costs so high?
Bandwidth. Bandwidth is rough.
Yeah, but why? That's what they want to know.
Who do you pay for bandwidth?
Because they charge a lot. I don't know.
You have to pay for transit across networks that other entities own is a big part of it.
Yeah, and then like having good routes. So routes is like you might have a server whose like negotiated route to your house is fantastic. So if you watch a video, it's great. But the person down the street, you think it wouldn't be that different, but they might be on a different ISP. And the negotiated routes in your country might be poor for that. So like companies like YouTube have fantastic distribution everywhere with really, really great routes to basically everyone, but that's not that simple.
Right.
So like we do a bunch of our video distribution through Cloudflare. One of the reasons why we do that is because Cloudflare has very, very good global coverage all over the place.
Right.
We have this Float VPN thing we've talked about before because we always like having fallbacks. That's part of Floatplane's whole thing. So we can fall back to our own setup whenever we want. But to be able to get the amount of coverage to the amount of routes that we would have with Cloudflare, the scale that we would have to go to would be kind of crazy.
It wouldn't make sense. By the way, is this broken? Kyle R's thing here is stuck here.
He's holding it there because that's the question we're currently discussing.
Oh,
We're doing
that's
a
a cool
broadcast
feature.
thing, and it
new
also
feature.
pauses the queue so that other merch messages aren't getting lost. That's why you have the giant circle.
I think that was entirely Conrad's idea.
It's
and
really
implementation.
useful. Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty sweet.
Okay.
But yeah, so like there's all these routes problems, but you would think, and this is where it gets expensive and also complicated, where with Cloudflare, they're one of the biggest internet companies there is.
Yeah, ever.
We should have perfect coverage like everywhere.
Right, yeah, why? Yeah. Hey, yeah, why don't we?
Nope.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
even Cloudflare doesn't have like perfect coverage to everywhere.
Right.
There's certain places in Australia, surprise, surprise, that have issues. We've notoriously had some issues in Germany. Certain routing problems in Germany. We just have lots of problems with it. Even when we're trying to feed through one of the biggest multi-billion-dollar like data distribution companies in the world, we still have problems there. And we can work on it ourselves. We can set up new partnerships. We can try to expand our partnership map, do a multi-CDN thing so that if quality to somewhere is low, we switch over to some other CDN, all this type of stuff. There's ways to mitigate it, but it's hard.
Asks, I assumed you'd use Akamai for streaming, and I believe we can.
We can.
Yeah, but we have
There's a lot of cost agreements and other stuff going on.
We have Floatplane CDN, but then we also have fallbacks to cheap CDNs and also expensive CDNs, and we can actually dynamically choose which one to use to deliver the content depending on what's most favorable for the particular user. We don't always get it 100% right, but the team tries really hard.
Akamai is extremely expensive. It's really, really good, very high quality, but very expensive. Yeah.
So we want to avoid that whenever we can, but we'll do it if we have to.
Yeah.
Hit us one more time.
Okay, well, now we're going to move on to some potentials. So we've got a lot of these rapid fire to go through.
Oh, okay. We can do some rapid fires. Sure.
Yes, we have about 20 to do.
We should have a timer for rapid fires. That would actually be a good prop.
That'd be cool.
I'll make a note of that. Okay, my wife and I are not gamers, but we do have a laptop with a mobile 2080 and 32 gigs of RAM, as well as 2 Logitech controllers.
Of course you do.
What are some games we
gamers.
can play together that aren't too expensive?
Play It Takes Two.
Classic. Hi, everyone. I've
Portal.
been trying to... Yeah, Portal's also great.
Overcooked.
Overcooked is great.
Yeah, Overcooked is super casual. Hey, we should talk about that game we played at the retreat.
Mage Quit.
Mage Quit
is so much fun.
If you and 7 friends want just like a chaotic arena brawler, don't practice.
Don't
Like train up because you'll be way too OP.
And it actually won't be fun.
Yeah, go in all of you cold, and it'll be like the most fun you've had gaming in at least 6 months. I promise.
I haven't like bounced around and cheered that much for a game in a very long time.
That was
Probably
really fun.
since the Whale Land, to be completely honest.
Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Even playing field, upsets, anyone could win it.
And like it was so much fun, especially at like one of my favorite moments was really early on when we like still nobody had any idea what they were doing, and you see two people who it's like everybody else is knocked out or dead or whatever it is in that game. There's two of them left. Clearly, neither of them knows what they're doing, but they're like fumbling around trying to figure it out, and they're whiffing, and it's just, you see them whiff and something blows up in the wall. We don't know how one of the abilities works yet, so we think they can avoid it, but they actually can't, so we're all like cheering for them to avoid it, and then they get obliterated. Man, it was very fun. There's no like, we have never talked to them. There's no agreement or anything. A bunch of us played it. And it was very entertaining.
Yeah, we had an exec retreat, and I was I think wisely packed 8 controllers.
That was pretty sweet.
The ROG Ally, an external GPU, and a long HDMI cable, and I was like, if all else goes to absolute shit,
at least we can play some.
At least we can play some video games during the night, and
it was a good call.
I knew, because I'm very wise and a good leader. No, but seriously, I gambled that the best thing to do would be to find a game that nobody had played. So I just was digging around trying to find 8-player local multiplayer games, which is shockingly hard to do in the new Steam Big Picture interface. Valve, come on. It's unbrowsable. Go ahead. Go try to browse local multiplayer. You actually more than 4 players. Like accessing custom tags,
and we figured
really
out
difficult.
Some of them was like, okay, it's 4 players locally. You can connect 4 other players, but they have to be like external clients or whatever. Mage Quit actually worked with 7 people local. 8 people local. Sorry, 8. 7 plus 1. Yeah.
So I was like, this will be the activity, and I was like, yes, it was awesome.
It was super
and the
fun.
steam room was great too, actually. Or sauna, rather. I guess it's more of a sauna. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Hit us again. That was not that rapid fire. We'll do better.
That's good. Good answer. Hi, everyone. I've been trying to properly engineer my water loop, but struggle to find data such as head loss and heat load for radiators easily. Will this be something the labs could test?
Probably not, because it's not really like a fixed function equation. Your tolerance for the temperatures of your devices could allow you to run a lower cooling capacity radiator and still be comfortable with it. So say, for example, you were comfortable with your devices running at 90 degrees on water. Well, good news for you. You can use a small radiator with slow fans and you're good to go. It just means that your water, your coolant temperature will be higher, which is going to make it less effective at pulling heat off of your CPU or your GPU. The good thing about that is the hotter the water gets, the more effective the heat exchange is with the air. So you might be a different kind of user who wants to see 65-degree load temperatures with super low RPM fans as well, in which case I'm going to tell you, okay, well, you're going to need probably about 8 to 10 120 millimeter rads. So let's go. Yeah, it really just depends. It depends on your tolerance. I would say that the general rule of thumb used to be a single 120 millimeter per heat generating component. So if you had 3 a CPU and 2 GPUs, you'd want a triple 120 mil. I would say that's probably out the window these days, and it's more like a 140 millimeter per heat generating component, or about 1.5 120s per heat generating component. And then if you have lower tolerance for noise, then you're going to want to go a little heavier than that.
Yeah.
As for the pump, get a D5. That's the answer. Lang D5 or some rebrand of it.
Someone did clarify. Apparently, Mage Fight goes up to 10.
Mage Quit.
Mage Quit goes up to 10 local players.
Oh, well, that's great. I only brought 8 controllers, so I didn't think to check that. But if our exec team grows and/or everyone is able to make it next time, we're ready to go. Let's play some Mage Quit. Nobody better practice, because that would be totally OP and dumb.
I swear I will not play because,
it's more fun to have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone's struggling in the same way was a big part of the entertainment.
There's a game I'm really excited to play at LTX. It was actually indie devved by one of my old colleagues at NCIX. Do you remember Tom?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it probably looks really cool.
Tom made a game.
Did he actually dev it, or did he do all the art?
I think so.
Whoa.
I mean, I don't know.
Cool.
I mean, I think he said he did.
Sweet.
Maybe he lied. Maybe it's AI. But I'm not going to ask him to show me what kind of hammer he used.
Good referential. Let's do the next one.
Anyway, I played it for about 2 minutes. just to kind of make sure that it functioned enough to I'm not going to touch it again, and then
Perfect.
We'll have some fun with it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What's your best tech-related dad joke?
I can never do this on the spot.
Yeah.
You can't do a dad joke on the spot. That is not a dad joke.
Yeah, they
question denied. Lol.
Moving on. Hey, Linus, have you ever considered making a slim version of the LTT backpack for someone that typically carries a lighter load of accessories and likes a backpack instead of a laptop bag?
Yes, Yvonne's been daily driving our current prototype, and I think we're really close to getting the comfort nailed down, after which we're going to have to get another prototype that actually has all the pockets and zippers and everything on it, because hers is really bad. It's just blank. It's just the shell, because we're trying to nail down the strap positioning. So it doesn't have a handle on the top. And the number of times I've interacted with it personally or watched someone else interact with it and go for the handle and it's just not there has been hilarious. But we're getting close. It's gonna actually be not that different in terms of total capacity if you load it up compared to the existing one. It'll be less, but it's not as much less as it looks because we moved the water bottle holder to the outside. Cool. But it's more, we're trying to make it fit on the Marias and the Yvonnes of the world. Maria is one of our other staffers here.
I'm currently pursuing a major in electrical engineering, microelectronics, and graduate in 3 to 4 years. Do you think Intel would hire someone like me?
I don't know. I should hope you've looked into that before entering that program.
I think the best way to do that would be Googling Intel jobs.
And Intel hires all kinds of people.
Yes.
Like you could have a company. Marketing, whatever, and they would probably hire. I'm sure there's a position there somewhere. I mean, you could be the world's most overqualified janitor at Intel, and there you go.
Hi, Uncle Linus. If you could have any games remastered with the kind of graphics shown in the first clip you did at the start of the show, what game would it be? Also, 10-hour WAN show, please.
Okay, first of all, no.
We should do, at LTX, we should just turn WAN show into like us gaming at Whale Land.
I have some stuff that would allow that to happen.
What about Man, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to come up with a good answer, but the one that jumps into my head is I'd love to play like an Anno game where you can really zoom in to like a photorealistic world with AI generated people that are going around like for no reason other than just digital sightseeing, almost like some kind of builder game with that level of photorealism would be kind of cool to me. I know that's probably not what you were asking.
I like the answer though. It's interesting. I just immediately went to
Morrowind. Yeah, he did.
Whatever,
because of course he did. All right, yeah, we can carry on. We all know his answer.
Lol.
What are your thoughts on someone bringing their Steam Deck to Whale Land?
I would expect them to.
It happened to last Whale Land.
And the Steam Deck ended up being an unnatural advantage in one of our competitions that they slayed. It turns out that 3D Cadet Table, the Windows XP pinball game, has been ported to Linux and runs so much better on the Steam Deck than it does on Windows now at much higher frame rates. And not to mention that this is much more natural than whatever it is that you're doing with a keyboard. So they absolutely slayed the next runner up by playing on their Steam Deck. And we were like, well, I guess I have to accept it. You got the score.
Wasn't outside of the rules.
Nope.
You're all workaholics, but what maker creative things do you enjoy doing when you have free time? Painting, fiber arts, doodling?
I think that for me, well, okay, fine. I was talking about my paint booth earlier. I'm planning to paint my bike. So I haven't actually fired up the sprayer yet, although I will this weekend. I somehow got roped into, I volunteered to help James paint his walls because I have experience with that, and I knew that I would be able to help him do a much better job with even just a few hours of setting him up for it. And somehow I got roped into helping James paint his kitchen cabinets, which is not something that I am super experienced at, or in fact, even have ever done before. but I do have the equipment for it. So we're going to be muddling our way through it together, which will be fun. But the real reason that I have this spray equipment is so that I can do up my motorbike in this color scheme.
So that's not actually, that's like a mock-up.
Yeah, Maria did this up for me, and I contracted her out of hours to just kind of mock this up for me because I'm lazy and don't feel like figuring out how to do it. So that's something I'm planning to do. So I guess that's kind of what you're asking.
I like fixing stuff. I don't know if that really counts.
Yeah.
I'm not like super knowledgeable or good at doing it, but I enjoy it.
I don't know why, but over the years, I remember being colossally disappointed many times by how not handy you were.
With what?
Well, see, I grew up on a hobby farm,
interested.
and I know that your dad's like super handy.
Yes.
And so there would be just things that I would take for granted that you would just know how to do, like paint a thing.
Nope.
And you'd just be like, to quote Yahtzee, it'd be like watching a cat try to fly a kite. Like you just were incapable, and I didn't understand it.
My dad,
because you weren't stupid, you just
the story.
Sucked.
My dad, so my dad was around a ton.
Yeah.
When I was like quite young, but when I was in like my teens, when you would do a lot of this type of stuff, they're really long story, but he didn't have to, but he stepped up and got a bunch of jobs and stuff, and was like, it wasn't absent father because he was around.
Yeah.
But the time that he was around would be like, oh, I have 2 hours between my jobs. Let's like hang out for a
throw a
sec.
ball. Maybe.
He's probably like too tired for
Right.
that.
Okay.
But like,
how about you throw the ball? I'll watch.
and then a lot of times if something needed to be done, he wouldn't have that much time, so he would just like do it. So I could observe, but I
Right.
often wasn't doing it myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, since then he's like shown me more things and stuff.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Like I was not by choice, but I was very often dragged into things. So I just know all kinds of things.
I've done a bunch of like distributed labor tasks, but not things like paint this thing. Like we re-roofed my parents' house.
Right.
So like I've done roofing.
Sure.
I think I did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
But that's
so
like quite different actually.
I've done roofing, interior, exterior, and I'm not talking like professionally. So like some roofing, interior, exterior, painting. I've treated infections on horses' feet, cared for livestock, built outbuildings. Repaired gravel, driveway, buried that fawn that the dog killed, operated an excavator. There's just so much, dug fence posts, both by digging them, pouring concrete and embedding them, also by post pounding. Like there's just, on a farm, even if it's not a for-profit farm, there's a
lot of stuff to do.
There's so much to do. It's utterly never ending.
See, like I've gone to, because I grew up out there, but we didn't have one. So I've gone to like friends' houses and helped them with farm stuff that they had to do.
But there's a big difference. Like my friends weren't really helpful when we were like, loading the barn with hay.
Right.
Like they'd kind of do a couple and then they'd get bored and they'd wander off, and I get it.
I didn't get bored. You probably would believe that, to be fair.
Yeah. You probably would have been a lot more helpful than my friends were.
But like, I mean, I still didn't live there, so it wasn't a constant.
People are asking, repair a gravel driveway. What is that? So you don't just lay down gravel. So potholes develop, and then the way that you put it down, you just have to kind of get a feel for how much of it to shovel and wheelbarrow out, and how much to fill it so that when it settles, it'll actually be smooth when you drive up it. Like just gravel. Oh man, our driveway was so friggin' long. It was over 100 meters long, and the incline was like this. So like getting out of there in the snow and stuff was brutal. And I had to often run because I was usually late. Up to my bus stop, uphill both ways, of course. I hated that driveway. Curse that driveway. If you guys want to see it, it doesn't really matter. Here's the place where I grew up. Blah blah blah. Well, grew up after 11, so I lived in Ladner until then. Here we go. There. This is my parents' hobby farm, or at least what it looks like now. So this used to be a riding ring for horses. There's ponds here. It's kind of hard to make out. This is all my parents' former property. They don't have it anymore.
Not now. Don't like show up.
And we were not crazy wealthy. My parents were teachers. This land was empty when they got it. It was a big stretch for them to get it, and it was basically like worthless compared to now. It's probably worth a fortune. Like estates out here are totally a thing. You can see like other people with their fancy paved driveways and whatnot. Yeah, we didn't have anything like that. In fact, is this paved now?
I think so.
Looks like it might be.
I think it's been upgraded.
Might be paved now. Also, many of these buildings, whether it's the pump house is hidden over here, were actually built by my parents themselves. All of this was just like dirt and blackberries. It looks like a lot of landscaping's been done since we lived here.
See, my dad built this, like, that garage that's in our backyard.
Yeah.
Like, he built that. But I was like too young at that point to be able to contribute much. He also did this like custom solar panel array for our pool.
Chicken coop's gone.
But I was also not very useful at that time.
Barn's still there.
A lot of stuff was either I was too young or I was already now out of the house. And like the gap where I would be useful at like contributing and also learning things was he was very busy. It's just unfortunate timing. But he's definitely gone out of his way to educate since then.
Fun fact, if that place is ever on the market and you're into high quality drinking water, it has a drilled well that by luck, we managed to hit some kind of underground spring or something. And it has the best drinking water I have ever encountered in my life and never runs dry. It's like the highlight of that property for me and probably something that wouldn't even show up on a real estate brochure.
Nice.
Like, honestly, I spent my childhood bathing in water that people would pay like $6 for a little bottle of, and it would still taste like crap because it's been in a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
Obviously. Plastic bottles. Yay. Anywho. Oh, more topics. And I'm signed out of Google Docs because why wouldn't I be? Luke, hit me.
Reddit to charge for its API. This is actually very interesting. It's more companies than just Reddit. Reddit has announced it will be charging businesses to use its API. No direct motive was given for the changes, cough, cough, but data scraped from Reddit is known to be a major component of several prominent AI training databases. Likewise, Reddit is planning to go public later this year and could use future income from AI development as a draw for investors. The announcement stated that the changes were directed at, in quotes, third parties who require additional capabilities, higher usage limits, and broader usage rights, end quote. And will take effect following a 60-day notice period. While Reddit claims to want to keep its API accessible to developers that improve the Reddit experience, the vagueness of the announcement caused concern among developers of third-party Reddit applications. CEO Steve Huffman described the company's authentic conversations as particularly valuable to LLMs, saying, in quotes, "There's a lot of stuff on the site that you'd only ever say in therapy or AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous.
Or never
at all. And that is a surprisingly transparent truth. Discussion question.
Kind of refreshing, actually.
Yeah, to be honest. Reddit is full of incredibly intimate conversations. Is it right to use them for AI development? Is it right to sell them? Well, when you post it on the site, you kind of...
I'm pretty sure that's even just in the terms of service.
Yeah,
is it not?
You give it to the site.
If it's posted publicly, that's public. That's a thing that happened. When I was all outraged about companies using private data, I was talking about private data earlier.
Private.
I wasn't talking about public data.
If they were doing this with like PMs on Reddit,
yeah, that's a whole other ball of wax. Which wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but that would be different though.
Stack Overflow too. That's the really crazy one in my opinion. Stack Overflow is talking about the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This lockdown is happening. I mean, we've even been talking about it. How are we going to publish information on lttlabs.com in a way that is not going to just train the machine learning large language models that are going to replace any need to navigate to our site?
We've been trying to figure out how to slow down AI, and capitalism gave us the answer. I think this might literally be it. If these companies slap down expensive enough API agreements, like Reddit and Stack Overflow, just those two things, is such a huge portion of these training models. Absolutely enormous. And what's really interesting is some companies are basing functions of their company around ChatGPT already and the tools that came from ChatGPT. So if those suddenly get worse because of stuff like this, That'd be very interesting. Very interesting indeed. But yeah, I think that's really all there is to say on the topic, to be honest. There are other companies that are doing this. I know Stack Overflow and Reddit. There are other ones as well. But yeah.
Someone asked if I would consider purchasing my childhood home to keep it in the family. No. It's fine. A house is a house to me. I mean, my family's my family, and the house is just the house. But Arjun from the social team said, hey, just heard you on the WAN show. There will be a short behind the scenes of the Wag Hoodie photo shoot.
Oh, sweet.
Currently editing it.
Cool.
There you go.
Nice work.
Got the answer there.
Good job.
All right. Amazon offers louder dialogue. Okay, dialogue boosting. It's just like so you don't have to buy a soundbar, I guess.
Oh.
It's an accessibility feature, but probably has a broader audience considering how many TV viewers report using subtitles most or all of the time. And this is probably more consequential for the industry. Samsung is considering switching to Bing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this is why Google is actually so upset. Man, I sent an email earlier today, and I remember just being, it didn't matter, right? It didn't matter at all because it didn't change the meaning of what I was saying in any way. But it just irritated me because it's so utterly unnecessary. Okay, read this bottom email. I think everything's here. Yeah. Okay, here, read this bottom email. Just read it out.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. Would love to get an update from them when that's resolved so I can use it. I found some alternatives, but none that I particularly trust.
Why is trust capitalized?
Why is trust capitalized? I don't know.
Why?
I find the way that I type on my phone, if I'm going really quickly...
I didn't type. I dictated it.
Oh.
ChatGPT wouldn't have made that mistake.
Yeah.
Why did it capitalize trust?
Yeah,
I didn't bother to correct it. It didn't matter. It didn't change the meaning of what I was saying. But it's just no wonder Google is in freak out mode right now.
Yeah.
Because they've sat here.
They've sat on their butt for a super long time.
Complacently not making basic things like calling by voice or dictate proper capitalization and punctuation while dictating. And their competition has come up and created GPT-4.
They found a way to, instead of try to keep biting, just leap ahead. One of the problems with this is the previous topic, though. This is literally what I was saying as part of the previous topic. Certain companies are hitching up with ChatGPT and being like, okay, this is tons of efficiency, or it's better for whatever reason. We are going to move in this direction. And that could bite them in the butt. If certain things happen and maybe the data set can't be used anymore, or maybe OpenAI needs to start paying way more money to be able to access these things, so they have to increase their fees, whatever else.
That's not going to help Google.
Oh, no, but it's interesting. Samsung is in negotiations with Microsoft to switch the default search engine on its devices from Google to Bing. Just for context, in case you didn't know, the default search for basically everything ever is Google, and Samsung sells a heck of a lot of phones. When news on the potential deal became public, it led to a sharp fall in Google stock and reports of panic within Google's search division. Google reportedly pays up to $3.5 billion every year for its position as default search on Samsung devices, as well as $20 billion for Apple devices. Samsung has switched to Bing before, back in 2010, for some Galaxy models. However, this could also simply be a negotiation tactic on their part.
I've heard there's scuttlebutt that Apple is also looking to either switch to Bing or at least leverage Bing's newfound relevance to renegotiate with Google. These are multi-billion dollars a year. Oh, I did mention the Apple one. Okay, cool. This is really funny. On the subject of auto-completion, Secca IT guy in Floatplane chat says, I never mean to say the word duck.
Yeah.
Spoken like an iPhone user.
Yeah.
All right, Netflix ends. I didn't even know they were still doing this. Netflix has ended their DVD mail service. This September, Netflix will be finally ending its 25-year-old DVD mail service, which brought in $145.7 million in revenue last year. That's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
The DVD division had a dedicated fan base among users without consistent internet access, as well as those who preferred its broader selection of more obscure titles, many of which are not widely available on most or any streaming service. But the DVD division has slowly shrunk over time. It once boasted a selection of over 100,000 titles, while now it's unclear exactly how many titles the Netflix streaming service carries, but its US library carries around 6,000 titles, similar to what was carried by a single Blockbuster Video location at the chain's peak. Our discussion question: what should happen to Netflix's DVD collection? And what alternatives are there for people looking for unusual titles or low-cost physical media? Well, what should happen to their DVD collection? I really hope they don't just recycle them. That would suck. Maybe if they just left them with the last person who rented them, like, I don't know. Like, honestly, like, what I'd rather they not just end up in the garbage.
Keep the service going for a while, but you just don't have to return it anymore.
Yeah, like that'd be kind of chill. That'd be super cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
For people looking for, man, what alternatives? Do I say it? Like, what do you want from me? If rights holders won't make their media available, at that point, I mean, that's down to your own personal moral compass, right? Like, you know, if you want to watch it, like, why is someone standing in your way? Why tolerate that?
Privateering.
I didn't say it.
It's becoming more popular.
If it is available by legal means, of course, you know, it's how creators are compensated. But if it is not available by legal means,
it's not like you could compensate the creator by buying it if you can't buy it.
What do you want from me, right?
It's very interesting to me that, like, honestly, 3 years ago, people didn't really talk about piracy that much.
Oh yeah, it was kind of dead.
Yeah.
Spotify, Netflix, it's like Steam.
You had pretty good solutions for everything.
It was the golden age of not having to pirate content.
And now, like, Nintendo's doing the things that Nintendo does.
Well, yeah, that's classic.
And stuff like this keeps happening, and people's cost of living is going up, and their wages are not matching it. And also, like, this perfect storm is coming back for people to put the hats back on. It's really, it's interesting to me that the industry is, like, allowing this to happen.
Because, and that, like, they don't see what's happening.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, oh, well, we'll just hike the rates.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, that's not a response.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney seems to be kind of waking up a little bit. Apparently, they're going to be loosening the restrictions that they've put on licensing their own IP to third-party services because they figured out what a gigantic hit to their bottom line it was. Like, Disney Plus, while it has generated like 100 and however many million subscribers, is not a huge W for them compared to
There's too many services.
Staying focused on what they do best, which is apparently run theme parks these days. And creating content and licensing it to a wide variety of providers all over the world. Like, it's like, yeah, duh. We had a good thing. Everything was working. And now, yeah, guys, you done goofed it up. I'm not going to subscribe to Disney Plus and Prime Video and Netflix and whatever HBO's thing is called now. What's it called? Just Max now? I can't even remember. I can't keep track.
They keep changing it.
All the different services. I can't even keep track of them. There are certain things that do make sense to me on a separate service. I don't want to pay for sports ball. I don't need it. I don't care. I don't have time to follow it. I shouldn't say I don't care. I actually do sort of peripherally pay attention to what's going on. Like, I kind of know who's favorites to win the, NBA Super Bowl or I'm kidding, or the, Stanley Bowl or whatever. Like, I do that. I do it on purpose. I do kind of know who the major players are. And most of that is just so that I can have conversations with people. It's like, oh, LeBron's the all-time leading scorer now. We can talk about that a little bit and how that's super cool or whatever. But I don't have time to watch the game. So I don't want to pay for the broadcasting rights that whoever I'm giving money to has to pay in order to have cameras in the stadiums, right? But if it's TV shows, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yep.
People are upset. People are upset about my sports ball stuff. Formula football. Yeah, I like it. It's good.
No. Someone doesn't like the thing that I like.
Yeah. This is hilarious. Sink plane on float plane. Great username, I think. Didn't they change from HBO because it makes people think softcore porn when they hear it?
What?
Not necessarily that, but apparently, yeah, they changed the branding because it makes people think of like very adult content.
Oh.
And they want to do more, like it's Warner Media who owns them now, right? So that's where you're going to get this new Harry Potter television series that frankly feels very unnecessary. I'm not even going to wade into the controversy around the author. I want no part of any of that. But
isn't that media's whole thing right now is like resurrecting dead series and just making it bad?
I mean, I guess.
Like that's a pretty consistent trend. I'm not surprised it's happening. It's happening to everything. How do we ruin this? But there's talks about remaking Princess Bride if you want it to be more on the nose.
Okay, hold on a second though. Princess Bride came out in like 1984 or 88, whatever.
It's old.
Yeah, it's old. It's at least old. Harry Potter's body isn't even cold yet.
Literally.
For real though.
The actor is like still
like young.
Yeah.
You know?
Acting it.
I can't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Twilight is apparently also getting a TV series. Yeah. You want to talk things that are unnecessary. But no, the thing about the Harry Potter one that feels particularly unnecessary is that they were good. They were already good. Twilight, I mean, at least you could make the argument that maybe they could make it better this time. Probably not, though.
Rough.
Yeah.
Another topic?
Sure. NYPD adds semi-autonomous robots. I mean, do we really have to say much other than that? Oh, good. They have thermal cameras, two-way audio, can patrol a pre-programmed path, follow a person. Yeah, not yet, apparently.
That's probably good.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. And the Red Cross wants gamers to stop committing war crimes, which sounds kind of stupid on the surface, but actually kind of makes sense to me. I know this is probably me with a hot take here, but yeah, for real. I mean, we don't accept, say, for example, video game depictions of extreme sexual violence. So why is it that we have this tolerance for, here are some of the things that the Red Cross outlined as in violation of the rules of war and that are classified as war crimes? Thirsting. So that is shooting combatants while they are downed and cannot respond. Targeting non-combatants, so non-hostile NPCs. Targeting civilian buildings. The Red Cross apparently even partnered with Let's Players to stream via its Twitch channel,
very cool,
with the purpose of the campaign seeming to be to raise awareness of the rules of war. And it's a pretty great message because...
I didn't watch any of it because I don't really watch streams, but I saw some of the titles and I thought it was really smart. Fun little challenge to do. I think gamers are never going to care about these rules as long as they are detrimental to gameplay. And right now they would be detrimental to gameplay.
But here's a question for you.
Is a genuine mechanic in a lot of Battle Royale games right now. Sure.
But then is there not an argument to be made that you should be considered to be out of the round if you are incapacitated?
No, so that's like, it would take game developers to make this a thing. I even really like the give medical aid to anyone in need, friend or foe. Very interesting. Making a mechanic where you or your team receive some form of benefit for administering medical aid to a downed foe, and it then makes them respawn or something.
Yeah.
As the mechanic, but then you gain like extra points
or something.
Is super interesting because you would have to be administering it, so it takes you out of the game for a second as well. But like you could make it fun and make it so that it's not a war crime anymore. But it's possible in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible.
Yeah. I think watching some of the streams, like if you're into watching streams, could be fun though. I personally enjoy
challenges.
Yeah, inflicting like custom rules in games because it makes it very fun. It's fun to watch other people do that as well, so maybe check some of it out. Yeah. And
now it's time to check out WAN Show After Dark. Are you guys enjoying the more structured sort of show format that we have now? Let us know. Let us know in the comments.
Can you even tell?
Yeah, can you even tell that we changed anything? So Dan's got kind of guidelines for how long we should do some topics, and then when we should explain merch messages, when we should talk about, what's new on LTT Store this week. And then the idea is to have the main sort of tech discussion be a little bit less encumbered by talking about LTT Store or merch messages or whatever else. So that we kind of get through it in the early part of the show. So people who only care about that only have to watch. I think we've been live for about 2 hours, something like that. And then while still allowing us to address the vast majority of the merch messages that come in, or at least a good number of them. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them this week. You guys went absolutely wag nanas for the Wag hoodie. I couldn't have estimated that we were going to move this many of a dog sweater. But hey, I'm here for it. It was a passion. It was a passion project, a labor of love from the merch team. It was not something we expected to be a big profit center, and it still won't be at that price. But whatever, it's fun. You gotta have fun. All right, Dan.
Okay, we're going to go right into curated. You guys can go through some of the potentials and respond by a text if you want, or curate them if you see something good.
Luke, are you going top to bottom or bottom to top?
I'm currently going...
Are you a top or a bottom?
I'm currently on top.
And you're power regardless, right? He has strong typing power.
Oh, my. First curated.
Your curated message. Kyle asks, hi, Luke. I'm currently in a networking class, and I know that you guys...
we
already did this one.
Well, why is it still there, then?
Get wrecked.
That's my fault. This is from Christopher. You talk about wanting to expand LTT Store into becoming a more mainstream product producer, or whatever the terminology is. My question is, would you consider sponsoring professional athletes?
Yes. But not in the ways that you probably think. Sorry, I'm just finishing. Okay, it's really hard to multitask typing and thing. Oh, did you archive it already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to sponsor athletes?
Okay, that's okay. I can read it there. Yeah, I would, but the reason that we would sponsor an athlete would be to account, to overcome a perceived deficiency in funding for a sport that I'm particularly passionate about. So, for example, we actually did do a sponsorship deal for this year with a local badminton club. They're called Clear One, and we sponsored their team. But what I made really clear to the club owner was that I don't actually really care about my brand on the jersey. Quite frankly, from a marketing perspective, my reach is a lot greater than theirs. I don't need the logo on the jersey. It doesn't matter. He wanted to do it, I think, because sometimes it can look good to have, good partners. And so he really wanted our logo on the jersey. But I kind of went, that doesn't matter to me at all. What mattered to me was that his plan for the funding was to use it for after-school programs, to kind of jumpstart after-school programs outside of Richmond, where badminton is really popular, and into other parts of the Lower Mainland, so that they could provide coaching time to kids that otherwise would never pick up a racket. So that I was really interested in, but just sponsoring an athlete, other than as a vanity project, doesn't really have a ton of value to our brand from a business standpoint. That doesn't mean that I never make an emotional decision. I just mean that I have to look at it objectively first before succumbing to my emotions. So with that in mind, as a vanity project, would we ever consider sponsoring an athlete? Yeah, sure. The sport that I happen to be passionate about is badminton, and it is woefully underfunded in Canada. I think for the 2016, was that a Summer Olympics? I think it was the 2016 Summer Olympics. It had literally $0 of funding. So the athletes that managed to get there had to do it all by the straps of their own boots, and that's absolutely ridiculous. So that's the kind of thing that I could get behind. We wouldn't go after the biggest in the space, but if it was someone who otherwise just wouldn't get a chance to compete, that's something that we'd consider.
Okay, next up.
I'm prepared for a lot of applications.
This one's from Jordan.
It's not something we're doing right now. badminton funding is all tied up in opening our own center, which is hopefully coming late this year.
Everything funding is sort of currently tied up. It's just, he's saying it's maybe something, maybe one day we could consider. We've already had a bunch of people ask, by the way.
Really? That was quick.
Not right now. I mean, historically.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, it's like a thing.
Hey, Dan, hit me.
With the rise of direct storage and games needing SSDs, would using Primo Cache to cache the most used data on a hard drive or slower SSD be a good alternative? Or could it interfere with DS, making it skip cache?
That's actually a really good question, and I think that it is possible that a solution like Primo Cache could interfere with the proper functioning of direct storage. Obviously, I haven't tested it yet because I'm being asked this question for the first time right now. But if direct storage thinks it's operating off solid-state media, which it doesn't necessarily have to. So the latest direct storage update actually has a provision for directly streaming assets off of a hard drive. It's up to the developer whether to use that or not, and I would hope that most developers would try to use direct storage properly, and we can just all move into the solid-state era together.
Yeah.
But, hey, if you have it as a fallback, I could see that being really valuable for people who aren't ready or able to move to solid-state yet. But I would think that regardless of that, confusing direct storage and making it think it's pulling off solid state when actually it's a solid state cached hard drive could be a problem. And I wouldn't want to do that, because the whole point of direct storage is that we are eliminating extra hops in communication and pulling data directly off of devices, expecting it at a certain speed. If it's coming in slower, I think it would probably result in gameplay anomalies.
Hi, Luke. How does Floatplane handle technical debt? And is there anything you've learned from these challenges that you can apply at LMG?
Apply at LMG? Not really. Because it depends on how you define Floatplane, I guess. Because Floatplane, the company, does a lot more stuff than Floatplane, the website. Technical debt in regards to Floatplane, the website, is problem we've had for sure. There was a long time there where, for various reasons that I'm not going to go into because it would take an extremely long time to talk about all of it, we were chasing features a little bit harder than we probably should have been, and that resulted in quite a considerable amount of tech debt that we currently we overcame a fair amount of it recently in order to release this beta site, which hopefully very soon we will be just actually be the main site. But there's more work to be done, and we're going to be doing that for a pretty considerable amount of the rest of the year, solving a lot of those problems. But ideally, I try to do 10% time on maintenance to avoid it. We couldn't do that for a long time, which is why we are where we are. Tech debt is like not doing proper maintenance or falling behind on versions or revisions of different pieces of software or services that you use, or not keeping up with different frameworks that you should be using. Like maybe you're using one that gets basically deprecated, if not actually deprecated. Like maybe the original developers are like, oh, we're still working on it, just that you only ever see commits like once a year or something. Yeah.
Okay, next up. I saw Colton at my local mall the other week. I wasn't sure if I should approach him. It made me think, what is the typical etiquette expectations for those less in the limelight that work at LMG?
Good question. Those less in the limelight, why don't you answer it?
Was it our etiquette? I wasn't sure if he was talking about himself.
Yeah, himself.
I don't really know. I've been trying to work through that in my own head. It's awkward, I guess.
I would like to assume that most people would appreciate the interaction, but probably just don't take forever.
Yeah. I think that's the big one, is sometimes people will approach you and they'll say, hey, I don't want to take any of your time. And then they will proceed to take a bunch of your time and show you pictures of their cats and pictures of their computers. And it's like, that's fine, but there's a time and a place for it. And that time and place is at an officially sanctioned meetup. So I'll see you at LTX. Right now, I'm eating with my family and I'm paying attention to them and not you, and I'm not working. Because that's the thing, is as much as I'm actually just am so blessed, right, to have this community that has rallied around us, and it's like the coolest thing ever. this is my job. And like, I'm at work when I'm doing that. Sometimes I can choose to do it on my own personal time, but in the mall, I didn't. That wasn't my choice, right? That was your choice. I wasn't in control. So with that in mind, I would say that in general, your best bet is, because we also don't like being watched surreptitiously, right? I can tell. And just because I ignore you doesn't mean I can't tell. So we don't like that for sure. So your best bet is, hey, love your videos. See you later.
I would personally always rather know. If you're going to be stuck in the same vicinity as me for a while, I would personally appreciate if you...
Earlier rather than later.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you acknowledge.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I'm feeling awkward, I don't really know what to say, even just the like, hey, love your videos, hey, love the WAN show, hey, love your thumbnails,
just a head
whatever
nod.
it ends up being, or just that, like a, hey, I see you. Because then, like, I don't know. I know, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate knowing, personally.
And like, I think at this point, it's pretty fair for someone like me or Luke to assume that we're being listened to in public. So we try to speak in coded language if we need to talk about anything that's confidential, whether it's regarding product or the internal workings of Linus Media Group or Floatplane or whatever else. But it's still...
Not everyone's going to do that.
It's still good for us to know that, whatever I'm saying could be posted on Reddit in 30 minutes or less.
And even if that's like obviously not your intention, it's still just nice to know, because if I end up figuring it out way later on, I'm going to feel very awkward
and uncomfortable, like wondering.
And now I have to run through everything that I just said since I've been in this area or whatever else, and it's a little uncomfortable.
Okay, next up. Hi, Linus. I work at SaaS company that specializes in software for the gym industry. As you've worked towards opening your club, is there any technology that surprised you?
Surprised? I'm very surprised at how behind the times the public address industry seems to be. It is very much dominated by contractors, value-added resellers. It's like completely ass backwards.
Address? What do you mean?
PA, like public address.
Oh, okay, yeah. Really?
The fact that it isn't just commodity, inexpensive hardware and just some IP-based thing that just this thing on and just goes is mind-blowing to me. The fact that they want like subscription services and cloud this and whatever that, like,
you could make one so easy.
To be clear, there are situations where that would make sense. If you're going to have 100 different zones and you're going to need like a team of 3 operators because you're at some stadium or whatever, and you could be paging multiple things, whatever, right? Like there are situations where that makes sense. But the fact that there isn't just, aside from just, running a long cable to your karaoke machine, right? The fact that there isn't just kind of a basic one, at least that my contractors were able to find, was mind-blowing to me. Knaps says in Floatplane chat, didn't Ubiquiti try to get into public address? I don't know, but based on my experiences with their products so far, I would love for them to do that. They're not cheap, but they're a lot cheaper. Like, man, I got quoted... I can't even find that. Basically, I got quoted like tens of thousands of dollars for, and it was like a dozen, maybe like 16 speakers or something like that. And whatever. The point is, it was outlandish, like absolutely ridiculous. These speakers were like $300+ each, even though they were just speakers. There was no smartness in the speaker. Blah, 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 first party vendor, blah, blah. I don't care. I just need anything that vibrates. So I was pretty annoyed.
Sorry, I was just replying to a new incoming one. All right, next up. My Wiz smart light bulbs recently updated, and a new feature they added was motion sensing. They say it uses Wi-Fi signal disruption to sense movement. How does this work, and why isn't it more prevalent?
I have no idea, and
it'll be incredibly hard to detect. But your
I have no idea.
Fleshy body does interact with waves through the air, so like, I don't know how the heck you would measure that?
like consistently.
I understand it's a thing that happens,
And
but
what's
I don't
the
know how you detect it.
Like if it's in a desk lamp, right? Like or like a bedside lamp, how does it tell the difference between a very close cat or a far human? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I mean, I believe it could be done.
Yeah, I just don't know how you do it.
It's weird. It's just weird. Okay, next up. The destroyed van that was hit by the concrete at the launch pad is still transmitting.
Oh,
It
okay.
was our camera van, NASA spaceflight. We still can't go to the pad to collect it yet, though.
Oh, hilarious. Enjoy your tech set, Kevin.
Oh, so it was actually theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it isn't external whatever.
Well, yeah, but no one said external. They just said no other damage.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't a question. I just thought that was fun to include. Sorry.
No, because someone in Floatplane chat or Twitch chat or something, I don't remember which one, was like, oh, they claimed there was no like external damage done. It's like, yeah.
Oh,
well, there wasn't.
then
It
you
was
talk-
their own van.
Oh, you talked about the launch pad though as like a damage.
Yeah. Sorry, they were saying.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood you earlier then.
Okay.
So then, all right.
Wait, what? No, I don't think you did.
Yeah,
I
I
think
did.
you're misunderstanding me now.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because earlier, what I thought you were saying was that someone else was saying that there was no damage to anything other than the rocket.
That's what the doc said.
Oh, well
Yeah.
then that's not true.
Correct.
Because that van was damaged.
Yes.
NASA Space Flight's van.
And the platform,
Yes.
which is what I said.
Then we're good.
Yeah. That's what we got there.
I like it better when mom and dad fight. This is awful.
Stop being so agreeable. All right, next up. Hi, Linus. What are some crucial tips or advice for...
also NASA Spaceflight is a third-party group.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
That's a very confusing name. But cool. And I follow you on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. Neat. I thought it was official.
What are some crucial tips or advice for a new company to make a product? How do you go from prototype to finding a manufacturer? What are some big mistakes to avoid? Thanks.
There's so many questions today that are like 6 questions in one.
Yeah.
I
Oh
try
my
and
goodness.
not to.
I think what I'm going to be doing in my text responses, I've been ignoring anything past the first question.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to make it one question per merch message.
It's actually getting like, I just answered
There's
one
been
that
a
was
lot
like
of
4
them.
questions.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
So some crucial tips and advice for a new company to make a product. I think the biggest one is don't rush. Don't launch it until it's ready because you will regret it. Its recalls are so much more expensive than another round of sampling. That's the bottom line. That's the biggest piece of advice that I can give you. And I'm not addressing the other two. Okay. Hit me, Dan.
Lol. Okay, since you mentioned a keyboard and mouse is better than a controller, how would you prove it to a stubborn non-techie friend that doesn't understand that it is, in cases like shooters at least?
I would say that if whoever it is does not accept the superior control of a mouse in particular, I don't think that a keyboard is especially superior to an analog joystick. And you know all the other things that your fingers could do on some kind of controller. But if they can't grasp the finer control that a mouse affords compared to a stick, there's probably just not really much that you can tell them or show them that would change their mind, because this is no longer a rational conversation. It's an emotional conversation, and the more you try to contradict them at that point, the deeper they're going to dig in if they behave like a person often does. And since this sounds like from your tone, it's a conversation that you've had multiple times before, I would say that if you weren't successful before, you're probably unlikely to be successful, and it might be better to just drop the subject. My experience that leads me to that advice is that I have been in a committed relationship for 18 years. No, I'm kidding. Actually, Yvonne's very easy to get along with, and she's quite rational, which makes my life much better. But yeah, not much you can do about it.
I'm going to interject with one. This was in Potential. It's from Anonymous. Just got back from HIMMS, a health tech con in the US. It was a lot of privacy and security experts talking about AI this year. They recommend siloing LLMs or building them custom for health. Any thoughts?
Called it. This guy,
Got him.
he called it.
Yeah, that's 100% going to be a thing. So there you go.
Okay, next up. Hey, DLL. I'm a U.S. truck driver who has been listening to the WAN show while I drive for a long time. What are your thoughts on self-driving semi-trucks and the possible impacts on jobs or road safety?
Ooh.
Oh, my.
So this is tough, right? Because I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
And this is another really tough conversation, right? Because when we talk safety, we have to talk safety from a statistical standpoint, right? So autonomous semis could be safer even if people die as a result of their widespread adoption, which is hard to wrap your brain around, right? Because what we'd like to think is that these autonomous vehicles could reach a level of perfection in their operation, right? But that's not realistic. And even if they're not perfect, as long as they're better than not necessarily you might be a great driver who would never make a mistake. But as long as they're better than the average, the transition could make sense. And what we also know, thank you capitalism, is that even if they aren't quite better than the average, companies looking to save a buck will be just champing at the bit to adopt them. So they're coming, regardless of the impact on road safety to a degree. As for the impacts on jobs, I think both Luke and I are, whatever the word is for people who kind of take an adapt or die stance. AI is coming for creative jobs too at this point. Hey, I thought we had a lot more time, but we're staring down the gun barrel going, okay, well, it's act now or die. And we choose to act, right? So
there's songs right now where people have spoofed Drake's voice and they're like popular and people listen to them.
Yep.
It's coming for us all.
Yeah, we've got this is someone there. Someone in Twitch chat. There will always be an operator. Think trains, think planes. No, there won't. Not necessarily.
Okay. That's a scary one. Let's move on. Hey, DLL, with it being possible to hide a Trojan attack in USB devices, such as a drive or keyboard, do you think there's a concern that cheap USB products from unknown companies could be malicious?
We've got a great video coming on the OMG cable. Really spooky device. Are you familiar with that one?
I recognize it, but I don't think so.
It's basically a rubber ducky, but in the form of a completely nondescript USB cable. It doesn't look like it's capable of carrying any sort of payload.
I just looked it up.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah, Tanner's been playing around with it over the course of this week, and it's going to be a wild video. It's going to blow people's minds if they haven't heard of it. Yeah, no, it's like really bad.
Okay, so USB condoms are going to become more of a thing now.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we need to distribute those.
Yeah.
Could we put the OMG cable in a USB condom and then distribute those and then screw people over that way?
What are you even talking about?
Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe. Oh, great.
I think they're devices where it just passes through power pins, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So it doesn't allow for data transfer.
So if you want to go to like a public spot or something like that, you can be a little bit more safe.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Hey, Linus and Luke, if you could have one tech tip telepathically messaged to every person on Earth in whatever language they understand.
Turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's go.
What would it be? All right. I guess if you push in new ones, it pushes them down for me. Saving for a backpack. Last one lasted 14 years. I'm sure the LTT one will as well. Hey, Luke, if your current car were to go kaput, what would be on your short list for replacement?
I don't know. My car will never die.
Yeah, it's a Honda.
It's a Honda. It's never going to die. Yeah.
But if it did,
probably
through no fault of its own.
Probably, yeah. That's probably more likely, to be completely honest. Probably another one.
Same age, it would also be mint.
Honda boy.
Same age. Yeah, probably not the actual same generation, but I do like certain things about it. Like not being a modern car in some ways.
Not having Android Auto sucks.
That part does kind of suck, but I do also just have a phone. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Someone said it's supposed to buy my 2020 TLX. Yeah, that's funny. I don't think I'm actually going to do that, but yeah. Someone mentioned that they have a 2020 TLX in the exact color that I want, which is like the same but modern version of mine. I'm like, that's kind of cool, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I really like my current car, and I fit in it well. And I'm like decently tall, but I'm also just a very weird proportion.
Yeah, he has like legs that are the same length as mine, in spite of the fact that he's like 8 inches, 9 inches taller than me.
Yeah, my torso is ridiculously tall.
We have to compensate by boosting my chair.
Yeah. But my legs are actually not very long. My torso is just really, really long. So sitting in cars is like a particularly annoying thing for me, because my head will always be in the roof. There are cars that even with like the best I can do with setting up the seat, I have to pull the sunroof back and shove my head up in the sunroof so that I can sit properly. I'm pretty particular about like the fit in the car. And my Acura is legitimately like pretty much the best I've ever dealt with. So unless they've screwed that up in the many years since mine was made, because mine's a 2009, which means it was, probably made in 2008. It's very possible they've screwed it up, but I sort of doubt it. They don't make actually just TLs anymore. They make TLXs, which is the other one and TL merged together. So maybe they have screwed it up, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I don't have to choose anytime soon, because my car's never going to die. So it is what it is.
We can all hope. Okay, next up. What is your top tech product, non-LTT, and new game you can't wait for? That's another 2 questions. Thanks for the infotainment. More hot and lukewarm takes, please. I'm struggling today.
Honestly, my top tech product right now has got to be the ROG Ally. I'm really excited for it. Double the performance of the Steam Deck. It's so much quieter. I can't emphasize enough how much quieter it is and how important that is to me. I finally played Stray. It's fine. Little overhyped. But I
is it at least like a cool new take on a game?
I enjoyed how little help it gave you.
Cool.
And I don't remember the last time I really just meowed for no reason. Like I was just role playing a cat.
Goose Game?
Yeah, but that was more just like it was for a reason.
Is that being a goose?
It was to just be an asshole, right?
Isn't that being a goose?
I guess. Okay, sure, fine. That's fair. That's fair. Then, other than that, like
sure,
I was
It
really
is different. I will admit it is different.
Yeah, I was in my character. I played it in a combination of on the ROG Ally, and then I also played it in the theater room. I finally got my fiber optic connections running back to my computer, so I can play in my theater room without violating the spirit of the AMD challenge, which, yes, is still on my radar, even though it's been kind of a nothing burger. Yeah.
Is it still on your radar?
I'm gaming.
It's been 3 months
I'm
or
PC
something?
gaming.
Okay.
It's on my radar. And Stray was perfect. In fact, Stray was too perfect. On the Ally, I'm very confused.
All of my notes for this AMD challenge are going to be worthless because there will be so many driver revisions from when I did my testing and you and Jake finally get around to doing yours that it's not even going to make any sense.
You know what? No, maybe that's part of the story, though.
The progression?
Yeah. Maybe we just weave it in. There's always a way.
We'll make it work.
That's how we do.
I got distracted by incoming again. Where is my brain today?
Got him.
Let's see. As a software dev manager of a hybrid, I feel my work's company push to get people back into the office is sidelining remote employees. How do you avoid the same issue, especially on the float plane side of things?
Well, at LMG, we called everyone back to the office. So actually, we do allow some work from home. The problem is that so much of what we do is not work from homeable. You actually cannot operate a camera from home. And in the interest of fairness, because you'd be amazed how petty and political things can get, even regarding things like, you know, which departments have which kinds of snacks in their snack supply. It's easier for us to have a policy that can be applied to everyone. So work from home is like on a pre-approval basis. It's not, or rather is on a per approval basis rather than just being pre-approved. And that's the way that we've handled it. Is we've always been an in-the-office company, and so we're an in-the-office company again now that it's no longer essential from like a public health emergency standpoint to do remote work. And the quality of the product is better. Simply put, it just is.
Fullplane has the same policies before COVID that we do now. We just went back to those.
Okay. Nenhancer says, no adult is amazed by work pettiness. The amount of drama that can be caused by a coffee machine, let me tell you.
I wish one day they'll let me touch it.
No.
It's theirs.
I've never even seen it.
If I see another complaint generated by that coffee machine, I will personally throw it in the garbage.
Why?
Personally.
Why are people complaining about a coffee machine?
It doesn't matter. If I see one, if I hear another complaint about that coffee machine, I will throw it away. I'll do it myself.
Okay, well, how about another merch message? Hey, Luke and Dan, and maybe Linus as well. In all of your years working at LTT, has Linus ever had an "I'm Linus Sebastian and this is my company" moment?
I curated this for you because I was really curious about your response.
Yeah, it's happened.
Really? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely has. More than once.
I mean, yeah. I don't think I can recognize it.
I will round this corner in a way that you might not expect, though, and say it's very uncommon.
Okay.
I think it would be probably less common than people watching would expect. But it does happen. I don't know. Sometimes you got to flex the veto power. Sometimes it's in like cool ways where people like want you to. It's not always in cool ways, but like sometimes it is where like everyone will be like, yeah, we probably shouldn't do this for like all these different reasons, but they all want to, but there's like a lot of logical reasons why we shouldn't do it. And you'll be like, screw it. We're doing it anyways. And it's like, yes. But like
examples.
I don't have great examples for this.
Maybe Whale LAN would be something
Whale LAN
like that.
would definitely be one of those
no
versions. Yeah, like that. This is a perfect example for that. A lot of people are going to come at you with the, okay, well, I do business decision things at your company. I need to explain to you how many different ways this is dumb. And like, we shouldn't do it, technically based off that. And then you can veto and go like, well, we're doing it anyways because it's cool and I want to have a LAN. It's like, okay, sweet.
Okay, but what about times I've done it that it's not cool?
Yeah, I know this has happened, but I don't have an example right now because honestly, again, it doesn't happen that often. So like, I don't think it's happened very recently and I don't remember. It's happened though. I don't know. It's just not that common.
Weak. Dan, you got anything?
No, I think you're very level-headed and reasonable. And
Oh my God, don't be such a kiss ass.
I've only known you for like a year.
Go more. Go more. You got to get a raise.
Okay, let's see if my wife
You can have a Go XLR.
can come up with anything.
Oh, my soul just left some of my body.
Hello?
Hey, you're live on the WAN show. We had a question. Oh, shoot, it's not there anymore. But basically, it was along the lines of, has there ever been a moment in LMG's history when Linus has had a, I am Linus Sebastian and this is my company moment? And I thought you might have a good one.
You mean besides the time when you told me you had to have 51% of the company when we started it?
Okay. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Thanks, hon. See you at home.
Thanks for coming in with the save. Appreciate it.
You win.
See you later.
Bye.
Got him. See, there's not that many, but they happen. They definitely happen. There's just not that many.
In my
They're
defense,
infrequent.
it's purely symbolic.
Sure.
It's true.
Sure.
It's true.
Sure.
We have no prenup.
Sure.
We are a 50-50 marriage.
Uh-huh.
So half of my 51% of the shares belong to her, and half of her 49% of the shares belong to me.
We should get into the share conversation and talk about the times that Linus said, "Screw you, it's my company."
I assume that's
Or we can go to the next.
Yeah, but
Merce
you haven't even
message.
been able to think of any, smart guy.
Well, that's one.
I mean, I don't make unilateral decisions.
We
Okay.
can go to the next.
Okay. Occasionally, I make unilateral decisions.
It's rare.
I try not to.
It is genuinely rare. I think there's also cases where, like, if you're leading pretty much anything, you're going to have to sometimes, even if it's just for like efficiency case, because like you can just go around in circles about something forever, and eventually someone has to make it stop.
Okay. Yeah. Here's one where there was a lot of internal conversation about why we don't cover paying for alcohol at company events. So we'll cover food, we'll cover entertainment. We don't cover alcohol. In some cases, actually, there's an exception. We do cover 2 drinks at the Christmas party. But aside from the Christmas party, just at events, you are, as long as it is safe, welcome to purchase and consume your own alcohol, but we don't pay for it. And this was a very circular conversation with both employees and people in the leadership team, where it was like, you know, we're being prude. It's just because you don't drink. It's this, it's that, it's that, it's that, it's that. And went around and around and around and around and around. And I basically went, look, it's a liability concern. The last thing I need is people behaving in ways that are inappropriate on company time, on company money. Whether you accept it and acknowledge it or not doesn't really matter to me, because this has been a problem. Not just, anecdotally in the news or whatever, but even at companies that people here were at previously. This is an actual real problem, and it simply isn't going to happen, and the conversation is now over. Was pretty much where I came at it from. And part of it is the fact that I feel like I've already given a bulletproof argument, and I don't really feel like we need to keep talking about it. And the other part of it is that the people that I'm discussing this with are coming at it with no skin in the game, right? Like if there is some kind of event, even if it's a 1% or a 0.1 or a 0.01% chance of some kind of something bad happening, I'm the one who's liable, not you. So this is my gamble, not yours, which means I make the call, not you.
And that's one of those examples.
And that's one of those moments.
Yeah, they're just not common, but they're going to happen.
And then, right, the other part of it was, I also just don't see why this really matters. I'm sorry, your entertainment budget isn't big enough? Would you like no entertainment budget? Because the last time I checked, that ain't in the employee agreement. This is not a requirement. And, maybe sometimes I do get a little salty about this stuff. Like the fact that within 2 months of us implementing free snacks, the fact that it had managed to generate disgruntlement blew my mind. We went from having no free snacks to it being political and generating complaints and hurting morale in seemingly an unfathomably short period of time. And, my immediate response, fortunately, I have people around me that help me be more measured. And I also am a pretty experienced business person, I guess, at this point. But my immediate response to something like that is, okay, no snacks then. Like, no soup for you. Like, why on earth am I paying money to generate complaints, right?
Yeah.
We have not done away with snacks. In fact, we have expanded the snack program. But I'm a person, right? And this comes down to that conversation that comes up time and again about whether LMG should unionize, right? Like, from my point of view, well, that's a decision that needs to be made by the LMG staff. There's nothing I could do to prevent it. But me as a person, as an emotional being, I would feel like I failed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because we do actually try. We do actually try to make this a great place to work. And we try to make it the kind of place to work that you wouldn't need protection from us. And we would want you to not feel like you do. I mean, if you did, then ultimately that's your choice, right? But I would like to believe that as long as we continue to put in our best effort, that you won't feel that's necessary. But like I said, there's nothing I could do to prevent it legally.
Okay, last curated merch message. I know this is a big question, but assuming AI and robotics continue to advance at the rate it has been, would you ever be comfortable with an AI or an AI robot taking care of your children or the elderly?
Children, no. Elderly, anything that gets them off my case.
There's a movie about that.
Is that the quiet part out loud again?
Probably. There's a movie about that?
Yeah, it's Robot and Frank. Phenomenal film. Old guy, his son pawns him off with this like robot caretaker, and he teaches it to do crimes.
Nice.
It sounds hilarious. It's phenomenal. It's really, really good.
Cool.
And now we're back into potential.
I'm still trying to chew away at these. Do you want to?
Maybe we can start reading them, or you're welcome to respond via text.
I think
or
I can.
You guys can read
Are
them
you still
out.
going bottom up?
Yep.
So I'm going to jump more into the middle, and I think you maybe read from the top.
Sure.
And we try to parallelize a bit.
Let's go.
Sounds good. Hi, Linus. On WAN Show a month or so back, you talked about carrying your Ludwig bidet on the LTT store. Are you still working on that?
Oh, yeah.
How are you liking yours?
It's good. I wish I had one on every toilet. I don't, so I can't claim that my butt is particularly clean right now, but sometimes it's clean.
Who do I file complaints to? Hey,
Your
DLL.
union rep.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have HR now.
yeah, we do. Hey, DLL, I can't find...
HR isn't on a particular side as far as I can tell. HR exists to keep both sides from yelling at each other.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Hey, DLL, I can't find record of Linus talking about ZDTV or Tech TV ever before. Did you watch it as a youth like myself?
I didn't have cable. So no.
Me neither. So also no.
I became aware of Tech TV when I met Chris Perillo, basically. I only knew him as Locker Gnome. I didn't even know that he had a career in media. I probably did before I met him, but I didn't know as I was chasing him in YouTube subscriber count in my early years.
You introduced me to both of those because I had no idea because I also didn't have cable.
I've always wondered, other than GPU block and CPU block, why standard plumbing fittings from the hardware store are not used as water cooling components in a computer. Is it a compatibility problem?
Yes. For the most part, they use completely different thread standards than what you would use in a water cooling system in a computer. And for good reason. They often have much longer threads. They're designed to operate for 50, 100 years uninterrupted. So, you'll have threads that are this long and meant to be wrapped with Teflon tape and threaded in with a wrench. It's not practical to work on a computer like that. You'd have to have blocks that stuck this far off your motherboard, right? So they're just... Nothing would prevent you from using them if you had compatible blocks, but blocks aren't designed to use them because it kind of sucked. That's how a lot of things used to work. Like thermochill radiators, for example, used to use BSPP 3/8 or something like that. I don't know. They were these enormous threaded fittings, and they were lower restriction, but it wasn't necessary. So moving to industry standard G1 quarter was the ultimate good play.
Any plans for other styles of the Wag hoodie? I'd love to match my short circuit one. Also, cat beds when?
Cat bed's actually coming sooner than you think. We are in our second stage of sampling. Do you know about this?
What, sorry?
The cat beds.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's a PC tower with the side panel off, and the side panel is a little bed. And then we also have a CRT monitor that the cat can go inside.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, right? There's definitely been some communication challenges with the supplier, but we are still working on it.
Hi, Linus and Luke. Longtime fan of the show. We are expecting our first child in June. question. Thinking of your kids, what future tech are you most excited for or most worried about for them to be using? Cheers.
AI.
Howdy from the Rocky Mountains. My wife and I are picking up the book and sorter for a family announcement. What advice would you give to people who are going to be first-time parents? Don't say AI again.
Have fun, enjoy it. I know that's such a stereotypical answer, but like, man, I can barely pick up my eldest anymore. And, you know, you kind of, someday I won't be able to do it anymore. And you're going to wish you could do it one more time, you know?
Oof. Catching the feels on WAN show.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Linus is going to the gym with me. We'll make it so you can lift.
Yeah, but he's
Can
coming to the
lift the
gym
sun.
too. He's going to get huge.
Yoked.
Hey guys, love the show. Linus, have you played around with MB anymore? What are your thoughts on how it compares to Plex?
I haven't. I've been lazy in spite of the fact that there are still some things broken in Plex, like just playing the next show, for example, is like maybe a 50-50 shot for me on the Android app. It's really frustrating, but I'm lazy.
Do you think it's okay for people, users in an office, to be computer literate? What baseline of computer ability do you think people should have nowadays?
The question is it okay for them to be illiterate? No. I think that computer literacy is basically a necessity for functioning in the modern world. And if you're computer illiterate, it reveals to me that you are an uncurious person.
Ooh,
because,
that's a bad one.
Yeah, because the internet and technology is your gateway to learning, right? And so if you haven't figured out what an efficient learning tool it is, then you either haven't looked that hard or you just don't care, which to me means you probably are uncurious. An uncurious person.
Linus and Luke, working in and around your industries, and for all the knowledge you have, no one sees the future. What's some tech you are completely surprised by that came into being?
Well, I am on the record on WAN show saying crypto would never be used for anything. Like real transactions, not never be used for anything. I said it wouldn't be used for any real transactions. When someone made news for buying a house with it or something like that, I was like, well, that's a one-off. So that worked out great for me.
Yeah. I thought VR was closer and AI was further.
Yeah.
We still haven't hit that date that I said for VR, but I don't think it's looking good.
I don't know. Apple's
We'll
upcoming
see.
headset.
They might launch and save my prediction out of nowhere.
Some insiders who have tested it are like, "Whoa, it blew me away,"
Really?
or something.
Okay.
No way to tell if they're telling the truth, though.
Well, hopefully. But yeah.
Excited the Wag Hoodie is finally here. Linus, do you think you'll try the Pixel Fold when it comes out, or just stick with the Galaxy Fold?
I will 100% try a hypothetical Pixel Fold when it comes out. There are some definite frustrations with the Galaxy Fold. I'll be very curious to see if YouTube or if Google on their own device manages to fix some of the problems I still have with the YouTube app on this one. If they don't, rest assured I will tear them a new one over it.
Luke, I know you don't like and don't shop on Amazon, but with items being cheaper on Amazon than stores, it's easier to just buy on Amazon, especially when money's tight. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't, for the reasons that I have, but I don't expect that others necessarily do the same. I'm very cheap in a lot of ways, and then also I make good money. So it's not generally a problem for me. So I will go out of my way and often end up spending more to get it from mom and pop shops and brick and mortars whenever I can, or find alternatives when I can't. But I am not about to sit here and preach at people, telling them to spend extra money on things that they maybe can't afford, when they're just doing what they can to get by. So do what you're going to do. Yeah, that's about it.
Any updates on Linus's smart home? Still using and enjoying Home Assistant? I've been using it for years and open source software for the win.
Yep, still using Home Assistant. Still happy with it, other than those switches that I'm still having trouble with Z-Wave JS or whatever. I'm hopefully going to switch over to those upcoming Innovelli ones. Project Linus. Oh, hey, how'd their Indiegogo go? Innovelli. I haven't looked at it recently. Okay. Ugh. Yeah, adding keyword Indiegogo. I swear, like Google search has gotten a lot worse. Wow. They raised $222,000 US. They have 9 days left. Okay, well that is funded. So yeah, hopefully I'll get switches at some point. That'll be cool.
Where are we in potential? There we are. Oh, Linus, any updates on LTT and Español?
Yes. Right now, I think it's like 10 days behind or something like that, because there's like gating that's going on with the like AI service that we're using to translate.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, the workaround is that we just use multiple accounts, and they're apparently okay with it or something. Yeah, no. Ed's working through it with them.
Cool. Okay.
The goal for him this quarter is to get it to within 2 days of release.
Cool.
For LTT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, LLD, what is currently a piece of tech that you are really impressed with right now, besides AI?
Well, PlayStation 5's kind of killing it. PSVR 2 is like kind of awesome.
I think the mobile gaming devices, just as a pool, Steam Deck, the new one, whatever it's called,
Ally,
that one, those things, they're cool.
I love these.
The Ally is wait.
Hold on, let me get the bell.
Oh, it's not fun now.
Will it be worthy? Yeah, he's not going to do it. Okay. I love these new stickers. I was wondering if you had plans to do a bird option. We have 2 conures.
Ally is cool, and that's the truth.
It's actually pretty good.
You waited long enough that no one was expecting it, and it became good again. That was very tactical of you.
He's getting advanced.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the cat and dog stickers today, I was like, a bird one would be pretty cool. But I don't think, I mean, not anywhere even remotely close to as many people have birds than people have cats. I
think you're the only one. No one else here that I'm aware of has birds.
Yeah, and I think the cats and dog stickers are like the company's cats and dogs, right? So unless you want a sticker pack of 2 birds,
just
that are both
Luke's
mine.
You know what? We'll do a pin.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Wait for him to send his text message.
No, hit me.
Sweet.
Linus, I produce my company's YouTube channel working alongside with my SME who has ADHD and is our brand ambassador.
All right.
What kinds of methods have you employed to ensure your personality shines through the script?
The easiest way is to edit all the scripts myself, which is not particularly efficient, but I haven't found a better way yet. So cool.
Yep. Yeah. Sweet.
Have you ever considered incorporating magnets into garments? Would love a magnetically detachable hoodie on lttstore.com.
We do have magnets in some of our garments. Our shorts have magnets and magnetic flaps on the side pockets. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else that we use magnets. Probably, I can't remember off the top of my head. But I will tell you that a magnetically attaching hoodie would not be a great idea. And the reasons for that are a couple-fold. So one is that in order for them to be strong enough, they would have to be quite large, which adds cost and complexity in construction and also increases weight. And having that around a hood could be quite challenging. Also, there'd be no way to make it sure that it really attaches permanently when you're grabbing on it. Garments get manhandled a lot. It's sort of inherent. And the third reason is that they can be damaged by heat. So anything that would go in the dryer, you could risk the magnets losing some of their magnetic strength over time. And something like a hoodie becomes non-functional if the magnetic strength falls too much. Something like a pocket that's already kind of being held down by gravity, but the magnet just keeps it clicked into place, is less likely to suffer like a a functionality deficiency due to the loss of magnetic strength. So something that we have to use strategically. I love magnets, though.
Pretty cool. We've got some curated here. I think you guys did. Hi, Dan, and I guess Linus and Luke. 2 questions. Do you think you'll ever do a collab with Bitwit again? And whatever happened to Brian the electrician?
Brian moved, and I think we were potentially discussing doing a collab with Kyle, like upcoming. Like, I haven't worked with him in forever just because of travel and stuff. But yeah, don't worry, we're still friends.
Hi, Linus and Luke. Watched everything since the parking lot days, before WAN existed. Any plans to implement a feedback from the working for LMG videos? P.S. Luke's mom on WAN show again when?
Feedback from the working video. Linus can't watch it, so I believe the rest of us can. So there's what I can say is there's already been some effort, but like a lot of the things that were complained about were already known issues, which is good.
Yeah, because we did a round of one-on-one interviews with HR and literally everyone before we did that video. So
yeah,
I'm not watching the video because I said I wouldn't, but I wouldn't expect there to be any surprises there.
There wouldn't be any surprises.
So
yeah, and like there are things that even before the one-on-ones, a lot of them we already knew and were working on. A lot of them are related to just being an extremely high-velocity workplace, and there's things being done to work on that. I don't know. Yeah, all the other managers can watch it, just he can't watch it. You don't.
Joseph asks, when are we going to get a Linus and Luke review sexualized LTT fan art video? Float plane exclusive.
What?
I already typed the response. We are never doing that. The last thing we need is to egg you people on.
There is a lot of it, though.
And
what's going on? I thought we were almost out, but no, it's incoming.
They don't stop coming. Yeah, I think, Linus, if you start at the top of incoming. Thanks for making my Friday and Saturday so much better. LL&D, what's a life lesson you could learn from an aging piece of technology? Tape drive, record player, cassette disc. What speaks to you?
I still love hard drives.
Yeah.
I love the marriage of digital and mechanical innovation that, like, the hard drive is one of those, what's the quote? Something sufficiently advanced technology is indiscernible from magic. Hard drives are indiscernible from magic to me. And I don't mean that literally. I understand how they work.
Even if you deeply understand how they work, it's still just like, what?
There's hurricane force winds inside a hard drive. And yet it still manages to operate
just
at nanoscale. Yeah, it's like I forget how a WD rep described it to us once, but it was like a bird flying 3 inches over the ground in a hurricane or something like that. Like and managing to like perform this task. Like, it's mind blowing to me. Hard drives. Yeah. I love hard drives.
Those are cool. I like game cartridges. I also, here's a controversial take. I like hard drives because I miss the thinking sounds computers make.
I don't miss that. Not even a little.
I know, but I do. If you watch an old movie and like they got to do something on the computer and you hear it like, I'm like, that is so sick. It's so cool.
Floppy drive seeking noises, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it's sweet. But like electric cars putting speakers in their engine bays to make the sound of ICE cars is stupid. And I don't want my computer to like have a speaker that makes it sound like it's working. That's stupid. I just want it to like actually, if it's actually a thing, that's cool. That's it.
M.2 SSD that has a speaker on it that plays hard drive noises.
I hate it.
Come on, AliExpress, let's go. Okay, a couple more curated here. Hey, Linus, for transparency's sake, why don't you guys talk about bill of materials, bill of services, and how much you make on a product? Your margins. Maybe start with today's launch, the Wag Hoodie.
Other than that, they're none of your business. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we were a public company, we would disclose that because our shareholders have a vested interest. But if we decide to strategically take lower margin on one product and make it up somewhere else, I just don't really feel like I owe anybody an explanation for that. For us, it's more about making sure that the quality of the product justifies the end retail price, compared to other competing products out there. And I just don't really think it matters. Yeah, the people are talking in chat, like even in private companies, or even in public companies, margins are expressed more generally, or sometimes business unit by business unit, but generally not all the way down to an individual product. A lot of companies consider that to be just highly confidential, like trade secret information, even like how much margins they're able to make, because say AMD knew how much margin NVIDIA was making on an RTX 4090, they could take that information and turn it around into a competitive advantage against NVIDIA by squeezing TSMC or board partners or whatever else the case may be. So I can see why AMD would want to know, but I don't see why there would be any benefit to NVIDIA to disclose that.
Okay, next up. Linus, how has your neurodivergence hindered you on the path to getting to the successful place you are today? What strategies do you use to overcome it, or has it possibly helped in certain scenarios?
I don't really think of.
What are we divergent from if we are all divergent?
Yeah, I'm about to get spicy here because I don't necessarily consider ADHD to be neurodivergent in that sense. I don't really consider it to be a major disadvantage. I think everybody's a little bit different, and we can try and group people into buckets and sort them by color or by the method that they are best approach a problem, or whatever else it is. But at the end of the day, all we get is the hand we're dealt, and we got to make it work. And there's definitely been times that not being able to focus on stuff has been challenging. I mean, I flunked out of school. That's a pretty bad mark.
The beginning of the hack.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty useless there, right? There's definitely times that it's challenging, but the best thing that you can do, I think, is surround yourself with people that make you better. Surround yourself with people who fill those holes, right? Like, take my wife. She is super focused, but doesn't have that same creative dragon energy that I do. So she found a partner that fills her holes, right? Which is good.
I was not going to dignify that with a response.
I'm recognizing some of the words that were said now because I was very focused on what I was typing. Wow. Wow. Wow.
We have 5 seconds left until our end of time. Let's not leave there.
All right.
We still got some incoming.
Leaving it there would be so funny, though.
Could just end the stream. If you say bye, I have to play the outro.
It would be a bit of a flaccid point to leave it on. We should keep going.
Yay!
Nice one, Luke. I haven't had one of those from you for a long time. Any more incoming that pique your interest?
How about Luke goes through that while I rapid fire try to respond to them?
Sounds good.
Okay. So you're reading them out, to be clear.
Okay. Sweet replacement to my Aorus P3X Thunder. 2 questions. Any plans for PowerPlay compatible sizes of the pads? And any on the accounting team slated for an AMD upgrade?
My wife is actually getting an upgrade. She's technically on the accounting team. As for PowerPlay compatible sizes of the pads, I think the 30 centimeter tall one fits right over top of a pad. You can see it in any of my recent setup videos. So it just lays across it, and that's how I use it.
Hello, first I'm making it live to the WAN show and leaving a merch message. Do gift card values accumulate in my account, or is it like I can only use one per purchase? Love you guys.
They don't sit in your account, I don't think. I actually don't know how they work. I've never bought a gift card from my own store.
Technically, me either. Yeah.
I think
I don't
is it a
think
code?
it's maximum one per purchase.
No, you can definitely use more than one per purchase. I know that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a code or not. I think it's a code.
Shopify support.
I don't
help.
know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You could ask support. Yeah. Or it is a Shopify discard, so it's probably very Google.
We have a new button in the merch message thing. What you can do is you can hit support, and then it'll create a ticket for our support team, and then our support team should reach out to you via email that you left your merch message. Okay, next up. Hey, DLL. That one just disappeared. Do you think there's a work opportunity for people with many skills rather than focusing on one? I'm a shareholder rep at 29 years old, but I used to be in UX and videography and with a degree in linguistics.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think, Dan?
That's YouTubers in a nutshell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you'll probably have to find a spot at a smaller company.
Yeah, smaller companies definitely work better.
But yes.
Acknowledge the...
See ya.
Bye. Have you seen the Kickstarter for the Flux keyboard? It's very interesting and something I've never seen before.
Yes, it's cool.
How much time in a given workday do you guys consider appropriate to give organizing or documenting outlying clutter from projects around your desk?
Well, we have 5 people, 6 now? We have a lot of people in the logistics department, so they help. As for how much is appropriate, well, you're going to have to do it one way or another. You can either do it as you go, you can do it when you're done, but it has to be done, so it's however much it is.
I didn't really hear the question, but yeah.
How much time should you spend cleaning your desk?
Oh.
Shout out to Gianni.
Hey, DLL, I asked Bing to generate some questions for WAN Show, and my favorite one of the list was, what are some of your favorite virtual reality experiences?
I actually really enjoyed Lucky's Tale. It was the first game that I played that even though it's like a controller game, I just felt so immersed in the world, even though it's just a platformer game.
Lucky's Tale was the first, this is an actual game and not just a tech demo.
Not just like a roller coaster you sit on and feel nauseated, right?
Yeah. My favorite experience really was just watching people get far too into it. When you see people physically react by way leaning out of the way or jumping because they think they're actually going to get hit by it or whatever.
Being afraid of a cliff, walking a tightrope, ooh.
Yeah.
Richie's plank experience is a classic for that.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, acknowledge the forgotten chat, Twitch.
No.
Oh, and it's gone. Honestly, how do you folks make money on these? 64-ounce bottle for $30 US and good quality? It's great.
Wow.
Thanks. Bootlick more. Love it. You bought 2. Excellent. Great work, Anonymous. Enjoy your animal sticker pack. And with that out of the way, we are done for this week. We'll see you again next time. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Bye.
You're welcome for answering your gift card message. I missed the rest of that chat because you sent it at the end.
Look at all
my
those.
goodness.
That's what happens when we pause the queue. See ya.